And away we go. So welcome everyone out here. Welcome to session 3 of our new campaign, Ravenloft, Vanity's Bloodsong. Ravenloft is the D&D classic horror setting, and as such, this campaign will include themes of horror. You have been warned. That said, we do like to keep things PG-13 around here. And now let us introduce our players if we can. We're going to go Ben, JT, Tommy John in that order. So go right on ahead.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Ben. I play Morokon. He's the cleric monk of Hamina, the goddess of the sun. And probably the best way to describe my character is he's big. He's really big. He also has a really big heart. He's a softie, but he's also not very bright. He follows the goddess of the sun, so he radiates quite a bit, but he's not very bright.
I see. I see what you did there. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Jerry, JT. I play Anduriel. He is the angelic vampire cleric of Naylock. Naylock being the god of death and shadow and vengeance and all things. It's an awesome character. So a couple adjectives. Is that what we're going for? Fearsome. Anduriel is fearsome. He is not a lot of people like being around him when he's fighting. I would say he's complicated, and not in some kind of like emo Edward Bella type complicated. It's not like that. But he's got layers, right? And then the last word I thought of was biting. He's a vampire, so he bites you, but he also is a little bit biting in things that he says to his friends.
He's really mean.
Out of love, probably.
Sure. That is the vibe that you give off for sure.
Okay.
All right, and I am Tommy. I play Odelia, the halfling cleric / barbarian of the water goddess Moiris. And the words I would use to describe Odelia are maternal, number 1, uninhibited, number 2, does not care a fig for social conventions, and no, I just lost it. It was in my brain. Ferocious.
Nice.
Like it.
My name's John. My brain just completely died. I play Thora Mikitas, the druid of Fin Hefara, and I won't lie, I struggled with the words a little bit. In fact, I'm gonna change one of them right now. Hold on. There it is. That's better. So I describe him as polite, very, very soft-spoken, very listens before making any judgments, very analytical. He likes to observe and figure out what's best to do. And last but not least, because JT has often called him this, creepy.
Right. That
Creepy crawly.
In the best
creepy
way.
crawly.
In the best way.
Creepy on our side too, so more acceptable than other kinds of creepy. Well, that is
something crawling on me.
At some point during the game tonight, I imagine there will be many things, but I think those were all very accurate descriptions. Those were some of the adjectives I think I would have picked if I were describing your characters. And I am Sage of Sorcery, your humble dungeon master, also known as Matt. And with that, let us go ahead and jump into a brief recap, if we might. During our last session, the Hallowed Council battled sea wolves, lycanthropes of the ocean, aboard the vessel the Lady's Errand. Odelia soloed their sea hag, Cook, while Anduriel and Morokon held off the entire pack, and Thora was knocked overboard and carried out to sea. When the battle was over, the Lady's Errand was swallowed by the mists and emerged on an unknown stormy sea, where they were forced to sail the ship into the harbor of an unknown town. While aboard, the party discovered a ledger of kidnapped women and a record of the search for something known as the Vessel of Summer. And that is more or less, without giving every detail, where we left things off. You also acquired a cabin boy who seems as though he'd been underfed, that the sea hag called Handsome Barrett. And that is where we find ourselves now in the situation of things. Anybody have any questions before we get going?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Then let us begin. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with Thora, who was washed out to sea. Thora, my friend, you wake up after having had a great struggle to pull yourself back together in terms of your full body. Being a swarm druid, you are more than used to having your body dispersed and your consciousness kind of spread over multiple insects. However, that being said, you were washed out to sea, and it was very different. And one of the things that's interesting is you've been bugs in the water before. It's not the first time. You may have even been bugs in the ocean before, but you got the feeling from these waters that surround this little island that they wanted to do you harm. Like the waters themselves were trying to pull your form apart in such a way that you wouldn't be able to bring it back together again. And so you do manage to bring yourself back together, but it's an exhausting, painful, and long process. But you do manage to do it, and you crawl aboard, you crawl, up a beach, barely, one hand to the other. You're soaked, you're stuck in this wet sand, and you've barely managed to pull your form together and get out of the water. And you'd think that you would feel better having gotten out of the water. But as you crawl your way onto land, which is one of the things that Finhafara, your goddess, has dominion over. She's an earth elemental goddess. You make contact with the earth, and you're like, yes, the earth. The water is Odelia's element. And as you touch it, you are kind of filled with kind of the same feeling. The earth to you is a friend, but as you touch this earth, it feels less like a friend and a little bit more like, I don't know, at best you could say an angry shopper during the Christmas rush of retail. That's the best that you might feel. It's like it's mad at you, and you almost feel like it wants to hurt you. And but you do struggle up onto the beach, and then thunk, something pops you in the head.
What?
And you open your eyes to see a bottle has popped you in the head. And you look around for a little bit, kind of getting your bearings. And off in the distance, you think that you see down the beach a settlement of some kind. You can't really see from a distance, but you see kind of a colorful settlement. But on the beach in front of you are 3 bottles. And one of them popped you in the head as it came back with the ebb and flow of the waters. And interestingly enough, all 3 of the bottles have notes in them and corks on them.
And he will reach out and thunk, open them up and see if he can figure out maybe this is information on his whereabouts or anything, but he's going to keep an eye on the town too.
Okay. I should also mention that down the beach to the other side is a cliff. So very short off in the distance, you have a high cliff wall that kind of cuts everything off. And then you can see the other cliff wall, and this town is nestled in the middle of it, and you're just down the beach.
Okay.
But you open up that bottle, and I imagine you pull out what's inside it to read it. It's a beautifully written letter. And it's any one of the 3 that you would like to open and read.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's roll for it.
Okay.
Let's see which one it is. Number 1 on my list, that is Wind Dukes. Honored Wind Dukes of Akka. As angelic protectors of law and order, I fall upon my knees in pious beseeching that you will answer my prayer. Chaos has taken my island nation of Desmare. I am the custodian of a once goodly town on the isle by the name of Port Revalria. Our lives have become a waking nightmare as we have all become vampires. I am a vampire, my wife is a vampire, and so is everyone else. I beg you, the keepers of celestial law and order, to deliver us from this chaos, from the chaos of this miserable existence. If you have assembled the pieces of the rod of 7 parts, perhaps you could beat us all with it and we would be healed. I certainly deserve to be beaten with the rod of 7 parts for my failure to stop this terrible curse. In exchange for your benevolence, I promise to become a paladin of whatever power or cause you choose, and I'm sure I wouldn't be the only one. Perhaps we can organize a musical theater production in your honor. You could play the leads, or townsfolk could play you, and we'll sell tickets, but I pray you keep this secret from my wife, as she is the most dread vampire among us, and she is sure to convince her way into the lead. She'll ruin everything. She'll make the entire show about her. Her ruthless ambition knows no bounds. Send help. Your faithful servant in law and order, BBB. Okay.
Okay, so I imagine that John knows who the Wind Dukes of Akka are.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little familiar with them? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if Thora does. So go ahead, if you would, please, and roll a nature check.
Come on, buddy. Ooh, I got good numbers on that one. Not with a roll like that. 18.
Okay. 18 is certainly enough for you to identify one of the most well-known sources of good in the D&D multiverse. In an ancient war against law and chaos, there was this great battle called the Battle of Pesh. And in that battle, the Wind Dukes of Akka drove away the Queen of Chaos and her consort, Miska the Wolf Spider, and they drove these evil demon creatures back into the abyss, into hiding, and made it so that law and order could exist within the plains. And so the Wind Dukes of Aqua, one of the most goodly or lawful powers on the plains. So this is the equivalent of writing a letter to Buddha, more or less. And someone has put this in a bottle and thrown it out to sea, but it's not the only one.
Yeah. So for context, I believe like as this is happening, he's probably walking toward the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So the second one, odds and evens, boys. Finhafara or Orcus? Number 1. So we're going with Finhafara. Most revered Earth Mother Finhafara, I greet you in the name of wolves and all other living things. As the goddess of the breath of life, it is said that you revere living things more than all other gods. As a protector of life, I implore you to deliver our island from the grip of evil. Our lives are captive to a terrible fate, a mockery of life. I am a vampire, except when I am not a vampire. It is a fate worse than death, which I would gladly welcome were I not afraid my part in all of this would send me to the hells. Oh, that gives me an idea. I should write to Asmodeus. Excuse me. Interesting decision making there, bud.
And you don't have to make a check. You know, Asmodeus is the god of sin. He is the power that rules over the 9 hells.
Good old Asmo. Yeah, he's a naughty boy, that one.
Asmo.
He's real popular these days in D&D.
That's on the license plate of his Lamborghini. Asmo.
Asmo. And his Harley.
Asmo D8 US.
Yes. Awesome.
And I guess as he's like heading uphill toward the settlement on the cliff, he opens the last bottle. Just the first line of this one, man. Like I consider myself a pro when it comes to voiceover, but when the first sentence makes me laugh, it gets kind of hard.
Well, the DM might not have been kind in this case.
My very dear Orcus, greetings to you in the 113th layer of the abyss. I hope this correspondence finds you well and thriving in undeath. I write to you out of the utmost sense of urgency in the hopes that your particular area of expertise might be applied to a rather desperate matter. As the foremost demon prince of the undead, my understanding is that your purpose is to spread the state of undeath to all worlds. So, naturally, I have deduced that you would be the perfect entity to remove the curse of undeath that has taken our home. You see, I am a vampire, my wife is a vampire, and so is everyone else. Ours is a tortured existence, and I cannot bear it any longer. My home is filled with many riches, especially behind fire, such as silver and gold and rich fruit with candied nuts at the fair when I was younger, and Father used to put me upon his shoulders and hoist me up to see the animals and smell the salt air of the ocean as we played by the beach on your white ship so grand, so peaceful. Tra-la-lee, tra-la-la, how the wind blows cross the waves as sun sets in the sea. Amen.
Okay, so what's give us there's no one to talk to currently at the beach, but give us Thora's expression while he's reading this.
So the first one's like, oh, this guy needs help. I should inspect further to see what's going on. The second one was like, yes, you've chosen the mother of life to assist you in this horrible, what is that last line? And then the last one is a level of disgust that no one in this channel has ever seen Thora have, because what is the antithesis of life? Undeath. Why am I doing angry Italian hands? I don't know.
Because how dare they? That's why. So
you decide to work with the Lord of the Undeath, you maggots. I don't know.
So clearly he doesn't seem choosy. And all of the letters are signed BBB, BBB. And one of them actually goes on like BBB, like just ... over and over again. So I think you're able to ascertain from reading these letters that you may in fact be dealing with an unreliable narrator. But in any case, we will now switch. Okay. So Thora, as he starts walking towards the town while he's reading, and I will go ahead and describe what Thora sees, but the rest of you see this as well, because as your Benjamin, Ben just messaged out to everybody, BBB, the Better Business Bureau.
I mean, yeah.
That deserves to be shared with everyone, Benjamin, so I'm sharing it. Anyway, no, it is not the Better Business Bureau, unless it is the Indian branch. Anyway, so I will describe to you, you guys managed to, on a wing and a prayer, pull the boat in to this harbor. And stretching out before you is a modest-sized town built into a small cove that is nestled in between high cliffs that extend as far as the eye can see. Just nothing but cliffs off in the distance. The town boasts numerous very sturdy structures in vibrant, happy colors like sky blue, bright yellow, forest green, and fire truck red. The dock itself is in good repair and clean with just a few ships in port. There is a short section of beach on either side of the dock, and the waves roll in and out with the pleasant sound of the ocean. Anyway, at the end of the pier is a large sign that you can see in the distance, painted in red, on a white sign with red letters that says Port Revalria. And there you are. You have managed to pull the ship in. You drop the anchor, and you are there at the harbor.
Oh, nothing to it. That went well.
Morokon's like passed out on the deck, just gasping for air from what we just went through. Just
Where in the love of shadow are we? Does anybody know this town?
None of you have ever done. I won't even bother having you make a check. None of you have ever heard of Port Revalria.
You know, I do think I may have. I just start spewing.
Yeah, gotcha.
So Anduriel's going to interrupt you like halfway. Anyway.
Okay. So you're all just kind of looking out here and chit-chatting amongst each other. And Handsome Barrett, the little, between 7 and 9-year-old cabin boy, comes up and he tugs on Anduriel's sleeve and he says, are we going to eat more today?
Have you already eaten everything on the ship, lad?
Well, no, I haven't eaten any. I mean, I did eat. I just meant, are we going to eat again today? Are we going to get more food?
I don't see why not. We should definitely get some food. Dragon, do you know, do you have any money? Does anybody have any money?
I mean, did the fellowship send us with any kind of a per diem?
You all have about 100 gold pieces on you.
Okay.
And quite a bit of expensive equipment, but you would have left with at least 100 gold of funds.
Okay.
But that's it. I mean, the rest was used to purchase the equipment that you are currently upgraded with.
Well, I don't see any point in sticking around on this bloody ship anymore. We should probably go into town and get a lay of the land and get this lad some food before he eats the dragon.
Okay. Is there anything anybody else wants to do aboard the ship before you go?
Odelia is going to make sure that the ship is in good condition to stay and not drift away from the dock.
Okay. Yeah, you can tie the ship up, and you've also put the anchor down, so it's unlikely that it's going to go too far. But you can also tie it to the dock. Yeah.
On the journey over, after we done the little pest control on the ship and gotten rid of all the jerks, I remember Anduriel wanting to kind of explore a cabin that was next to the kitchen that was closed, and Smiley Face wouldn't let him do that. Would he have had time to explore that room while they were coming into shore, or does he need to do that now?
No, you guys, it took all 3 of you to be able to sail, and that was with Odelia screaming things like, grab the line of the sail. No, the other sail. Like it takes more than 3 people to sail a small schooner. And it was wing and a prayer that you sailed into the harbor. But you're free to explore the ship now if you would like to.
Yeah. On second thought, if you would all like to go into town, that's fine. I'm going to stay aboard. There's a few things I'd like to see on this ship.
having just talked about the fellowship's per diem, Anduriel, while you're exploring the ship, if you could maybe scrounge up some whatever silver or gold you can find, might be helpful.
An excellent suggestion. It's the least those pirates could do for us is to pay us for our time, kicking their butts. Yes, so I'm going to go explore the ship. You're welcome to stay with me, but I'd rather you go with the boy to get him some food in the town. Goodbye.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So who's going where?
Let's go into town.
Okay.
me and Odelia and I guess Handsome Barrett are heading into town.
All right. So you step off the dock.
Unless something shiny distracts me on the pier somewhere.
It will give you an idea of what you're looking at. Look, there's a little map of the town. Oh, there is the dock that you guys step off onto a pier. Okay.
How pretty the town is.
And yeah, look at the pretty towns. Anyway, you step off the dock into a pier right there, and those 6 colors that you see are 6 different little stalls, and a couple of them are empty, and a couple of them have wares that they're selling. One of the first ones that you see on there is kind of like a bosun's station, you know, where there are all kinds of tools up there on a wall. And there's an older gentleman, crusty old sea dog, in a blue coat and hat with white breeches, big thick white bushy beard, standing there in front of it. Everything you could need. There's rope. There's cloth for sale. It's just what you would expect, you know, someone to have like that. But something else catches your eye. There is also a fish stand, fresh fish, lots of cod, what you would expect to see. There's some, you know, sturgeon. There's even some shark hanging over there. But something catches your eye as you look over at this fish. There's right next to it kind of like a poultry stand, right? Where there's chickens and ducks hanging, you know, from the side. But it goes like this: chicken, chicken, chicken. And then there are 3 swans hanging there over the side, and then chicken, 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 and then a row of ducks. I would like those of you who are there, so Odelia and Morocon, to make nature checks, if you would, trained or not trained.
Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
Don't you wish you had your druid?
If only. Well, I rolled a 10.
Okay.
9.
All right. So you guys look up there, and all that pops into your head is chicken, chicken, swan, swan, duck. Huh, that's interesting. The only thing that you really notice is that the swans all have their feathers. Everything else has been plucked, which is kind of odd, but that's really all that comes to your mind. If Thora were here, you might ask him what's up with that, but nothing else catches your notice. So
Swan.
in any case, so you kind of go walking past, and there, you know, there's a peddler, you know, and all of these little different things, and a man comes walking down the pier towards you. He is a person, and let me just skip down to give you a few
You don't
of
say.
the details. So he looks like he's in his early 30s, has a nice trimmed black beard, and he himself is wearing what a lot of the people that you see here, like in front of these stalls, are wearing. There's about 3 or 4 people. They're all wearing white breeches, or a white skirt, and then some kind of color in addition to it. Like they either have a white skirt and some really colorful top, or a white top and really colorful breeches, or something like that. But there's always this white base and then flashy, bright colors. And he comes walking down, and he looks up and looks up at a pocket watch, and then pops it back down there and comes over to you, comes walking towards you, and kind of nods his head towards both of you, and he says, "Welcome to Port Revalria. You came in on the ship, no?"
Eat.
Yep.
And then
We
he
were glad
takes
to find you. There was quite a storm out there.
a storm. Oh, there are never storms around Port Revalria. The weather is mild all year long. It is the blessing of the island.
Is it?
Suspicious.
That's weird.
He says, "Well, what is the name of your ship? I am the harbor master. My name is Costana Lupe. And your ship name?"
The lady's
I can't
errand.
remember. Yes, that one.
Okay.
I went fishing for the name, but you got to it first.
He said, "The lady's errand, not the lady's messenger?"
I've heard it both ways.
All right, he gives you this really confused look. Like,
I've heard it both ways.
I've heard it both ways. like, what does that mean? And then he just kind of shakes his head and looks at you and he says, very well. Do you have anything to declare? Will you be selling cargo in our town?
Oh, no. No, we don't have any cargo to sell. We're just here seeking refuge from the storm that was definitely right outside your harbor.
Okay, so he looks out and kind of gestures, and you don't really see, much going on. I mean, the weather looks mild. Like, whatever traces of the storm there are clouds off in the distance, but he's like, it looks mild to me. Maybe it was rougher waters than you are used to.
It's
Perhaps.
very true.
Okay. And he says, well, you have nothing to declare. I see. So may I ask, what is your business in our town? What have you come to do, if not to trade?
Well, first things first, I think we would like to purchase some food and perhaps some lodging. So we'll have to stay on the boat as our hotel.
I see. Well, he says, if you are looking for food, you will certainly find a good meal and a place to stay at the tavern. It is called the Divine Dragon. It is up the main road. You cannot miss it. There is a big silver dragon sign out front of it. Is good food. I know the innkeeper. He is a good fellow. He's one of your people, eh? And he nods at Odelia.
Oh, a halfling.
Aye.
Oh, excellent.
Is, and he'll have he'll have accommodations. I almost switched into your accent. He'll have accommodations for you. Yes, I will, all the way down. Sorry, I will try to. Now I would like you guys all to please make an insight check, and let's see how well you're reading him.
The other one I'm good at.
Oh! Being punished, John, for missing the session. That's what we punish you.
True.
The next check is gonna be diplomacy. That's no. I'm just kidding.
Diplomacy, perception,
19.
endurance.
You got what
I actually rolled pretty well. I rolled a 19.
on the die or total?
That's total. That's with everything.
Okay, and Odelia.
15.
All right, so
Double digits.
he looks really agitated by something, but you can't quite tell what. And he just kind of nods at both of you and gestures towards the town, and then he turns on his heel and walks away really quickly, like walking.
What
with a
if I
purpose.
told you? What if I told you it was actually a 21? Because I forgot I'm a seer and I get a bonus to insight.
Nice.
Oh, you did not add your bonus to insight in, or
Yeah, because I apparently have a +2 to insight. Bluff
I
as a
have already
seer.
configured that into your skills, unless you added it together, and I have not done so. So that's
I just
already added into the total, my friend.
okay.
Unless you want to
never mind.
use one of your seer rolls to make the insight check a little higher.
Well, I already rolled pretty high. I think I'll save that for when it matters.
Okay. All right. So in any case, he takes off, walking with a purpose somewhere, and that is more or less what happens there. And so you guys head walking down and down the pier, and you see all kinds of people just going about their business, but the streets are not what you would call really busy at the moment. There are people walking, carrying baskets, just kind of going about the day's work. And then something kind of funny happens. As you step off the docks onto the cobblestone streets of the town, a church bell begins to ring rather loudly. And all the doors of the colorful buildings open all at once, and people begin pouring into the streets. Okay? And then all of at once, lively, festive music fills the air, and people begin to just joyfully dance. And they break into song, and they start forming groups of revelers all over the place, like right at the docks. And it's very much like stepping into a musical or something. And everybody's come out of their doors, and one of those groups settles right there in front on the pier, like right there on the pier. People come running at you. If they weren't smiling and laughing and clapping, you would think that they were about to attack. So in any case, they're coming towards you, and Morocon, a beautiful young girl in her early 20s with raven black hair, ruby red lips, and a lovely olive skin, and a bright red skirt and slippers, comes running towards you, and she goes, "Come on!" And she grabs your hands and starts pulling you into the dance circle.
It's always more fun.
Right, it's always me.
The ladies love him.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
How does
Nice.
Morocon respond to this?
Well, he's a little confused, but there seems to be there's nothing nefarious here.
Okay.
So I guess as long as it's on the way to the inn, then I guess I will join the revelry.
Okay. So Morocon steps off the pier and into the dance, right? Odelia, a rather chubby woman in an apron with flour kind of all over you, comes running towards you, and she's like, and she grabs your arm and stuffs a sweet roll into your hand and tries to pull you into the dancing circle as well.
Odelia has a moment of PTSD from the cook on the ship,
Okay.
as this lady and the chubby lady in the apron's running toward her. But as soon as she has a moment to gather herself, she just sees, oh, this is fun, and she grabs Handsome Barrett and pulls him into the dance with her and just joins in with gusto.
Okay. Handsome Barrett's like, like you're,
Come on.
you're dragging him down, and it's quite a sight. There's this portly woman in this not flowers, but apron with flour on it, tugging on Odelia, who's tugging Handsome Barrett behind her, and everybody kind of just gets pulled into the dance. And while you are dancing, the woman with the apron looks at you and Odelia, and she said, "It's delicious. Take a bite while we dance." And then she takes a bite out of another one that she's produced from somewhere and goes and moves along down in the circle. And Duriel, you hear the sounds of combat and people screaming and yelling from below the ship.
Have I been able to see anything interesting yet, or is it just?
You have, and we will briefly switch over. So, Anduriel, you went down to that room he was blocking, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. The door is locked.
I would like to remedy that
shucks.
situation.
Moving on.
You want to remedy? All right. You want to break the door down?
I do.
All right. You're going to kick the door, and please make a strength check. Half your level and your strength modifier.
Strength. Come on, don't fail me now. That's not bad. That's a 16 on the die. 16, 19, 25.
Okay. Anduriel, you kick the door in, and you almost boot it off its hinges. Like it goes crack and falls off one of the hinges. And the smell that wafts out and hits you is fouler than foul. I mean,
Dang.
it smells like the, when the dumpster smell wafts in off of Utah Lake, and it smells like salt air, but with garbage. And you're like, oh, when you're near the tennis courts in South Jordan, and you're like, the air coming in. It's that bad, and it smells like rotten meat. and you take a look in there, and there are furs like crumpled up into piles all over the place, and there are bones on the floor, and generally it looks to be more or less like an animal den of some kind, but there are furs kind of all over the place, and you're welcome to search it if you would like, or you can walk away, check another part of the ship. It's up to you.
No, I mean, he's not necessarily put off by it too much, being who he is and sustaining himself as he does. But he's not really interested in a room full of furs and yuckiness. So he'll probably move on to other parts of the ship that may look a little bit more, I don't know, treasury.
Okay.
Something like the captain's quarters.
You want to check the captain's quarters?
Yeah.
All right. So you found that ledger with Handsome Barrett, right? And he kind of would show you what's up. Go ahead and make a perception check for me, and let's see how well you search the captain's quarters.
Very, very well. 29.
Okay. All right. So you go searching around the captain's quarters. They are a little bit nicer, but there's that same kind of animal musk there that you found downstairs with all the furs, except it's not quite as ratty and filthy, right? So you walk in there, and your heightened senses are still picking that up, but you also find a little chest with a small lock on it, and the mouth of the chest has been worked. The gold on it, or the brass on it, has been worked into a wolf's head, and there's a key on it, or not a key on it. There's a lock, like a place for a key.
Okay, but I don't see the key anywhere.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, this is mine. I
Mine.
hope I can get the stench of sea wolf off of it. Actually, it's rather pungent. So he's just gonna pick it up. And how big is it? Can he kind of just pocket it, or is it?
It's
much
pretty
too big?
well. It's not. It's a chest, but it's not a big
it's
one.
not like a big one.
It's
okay.
It's a small chest that it's like the size of a basketball.
Okay.
That someone here. It's got a little wolf head on it, but you don't know where the key is. You could. I mean, there might look for the key if you think real hard.
Yeah, I think I'd like to look for the key.
Where might the key?
Because I don't want to carry around a basketball with me as I leave the ship.
Where might the key to the captain's chest be?
Surely not with the captain. I mean, that would be.
I'm not gonna tell you where to look, bro. You figure out where you want to look.
It's probably just on the door sill, right above the door. He just slides it up there.
Yeah. All right. So you check up there, and you actually do not find the
It's
key.
under the doormat.
On the hinge.
Under the
There is no
doormat.
doormat. The doormat was Handsome Barrett.
Let's
Uh-huh.
see. Is there a desk?
There is a desk, but it doesn't have drawers or anything. It's just 4 legs.
Oh, dang it! There's no hidden compartment with a key in it.
Well, with a 29, you probably would have found it.
Well, I found no key, I suppose. The captain's he's off the ship. He's gone. He's long gone.
No,
So I
we
can't even
killed
search his
him.
corpse,
He didn't
right?
get away.
Oh, we killed him?
We killed the captain. His body is right there in the center of the cargo hold, rotting with the hag's body and several sea wolves. And a
Well,
sea
put
wolf
on your
swims by
galoshes.
and
It's
goes,
corpse.
"It
It's
was
corpse
fake."
searching time.
All right.
It's corpse searching time. Let's do it.
All right, so you find a little key around the captain's neck on a leather thong.
Okay. I would like to use the key to open the chest.
And ironically enough, the key does open the chest.
Yes.
Okay. So, Anduriel, you open up, and it is a chest of rather sparkly gems. There are gemstones in there, some of them large and some of them small. There are also a number of gold teeth in there, and silver teeth, and rings, and odds and ends and gemstones, and there's blood on quite a few, and before you even saw the blood, you smelled it.
Yeah.
So you're pretty sure that these things were taken off of people, and
Okay.
not when they were alive.
All right. So we just got some treasure. That's awesome.
Now, one gem kind of catches your notice more than the others. You take a look at it, and it is the largest gem in the box, and it was kind of it's buried just slightly below the surface as you sift through it, and it is a beautiful sapphire with swirling colors inside of it, and it's just a cut above everything else in this small chest.
Ooh, the Arkenstone. Don't show Odelia.
Don't show Adelia. She's not a dwarf.
To Anduriel, it doesn't
That's
matter.
racist.
That's racist.
Okay. Well, the plan then is to report back to the team that he found a chest full of a lot of cool things, but not the stone, because that's for Anduriel.
All right.
Find
So
this feat.
you pocket the stone then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Alrighty, Anduriel, you pocket that stone, and that is when you hear the sounds of combat from outside the boat. People yelling, people screaming, and some lady going, "Ah! Ah!"
So I legitimately believe that it's combat. I don't think that it's a festival.
Yeah, no, it sounds like combat coming from above.
Okay, well, all right, well, I can't leave those two alone for 5 minutes. And so he's just going to book it off the boat and start running into town, trying to keep cover as much as possible, sort of stealthy.
Okay, so Anduriel, you come running upstairs because you hear shouting and clanking things, and you come up, and right there on the pier and at the edge of the pier and all down the pier, you see people dancing, and Morocon and Odelia are reeling in a huge circle with people.
Oh, so they haven't gotten far enough that I can't see him from the boat.
No, you can tell it's them.
Okay.
I mean, these people came all the way down the pier, and they're dancing and carrying on, and having a wonderful time. I want you to make an insight check, if you would, please. And Odelia, you and Morocon can do the same thing.
11 plus 15, 17.
17.
Okay.
Yes,
Morocon?
dice friends.
8.
8. All right, Morocon, you are so tired from the combat and having been dropped, you're like, oh yay, we're dancing. You're just trying to keep up with the steps. Anduriel and Odelia, Anduriel, I'm actually going to give you a +2 because you're not occupied by the dancing. So with your total 21.
That would be 19.
Okay, so Odelia, you notice that everybody is kind of dancing and celebrating. Some people are kind of just standing still and thumping their feet, and they're drinking out of big mugs. There's actually somebody over there just filling up their mugs out of a keg, with beer. But you see some of the people are dancing, and they're not so happy about it. They're at the edge of the pier, too far for Anduriel to see. There's an elderly woman who is dancing, and she looks like she's in pain, but she won't stop dancing. She looks like her hip is hurting her, but she's like, I'm dancing. Ow, I'm dancing. Oh, it's so fun. I'm dancing. And you see some other people are like, and and now the teenagers are having a blast. The 16-year-olds, the 14, even the 12-year-olds, they're out there like busting a move. Like they're out there they're outperforming each other, and no one is outperforming each other like the young girl that grabbed Morocon. She seems like the queen bee, and she's a little bit older than all the other young people, like early 20s, and she's leading Morocon through the dance, and everybody, you know, looks to her at some point, and the other girls are kind of copying her moves, you know, like she does a leap or a twirl, and the other girls like quickly try to fit the leap and the twirl into the reel. They're kind of following her. I'd like to see how well you guys do. Let's have a series of athletics checks or acrobatics. And Uriel, I don't suppose you're going to join the festivities.
No, he's very glad that he stayed on the boat.
Okay.
23.
Actually, so is he concerned at all? Like from the check that I rolled, is he like, wait, something's off?
No, you're not concerned. You just noticed that some of the people, not all of them, not maybe even half of them, but some of the people out here celebrating look like it's forced, like it's fake. Like,
Okay.
And some of them, like that lady that Odelia caught because she's further down the way, she's in pain, like, but she doesn't feel or seem like she's willing to stop dancing.
Okay. He'll stay on the boat gladly.
All right. So Enduriel will go ahead and gladly stay on the boat then. And Morocon and Odelia, let's have some checks. 3 athletics checks or acrobatics. Let's go.
Okay.
23 for my first one.
Okay.
And that's a dirty 20 for my first.
All right. Second one.
25
Oh,
Oh,
dang.
look at you, Odelia. Dang.
is
Okay.
dancing.
21.
Okay.
I'm rolling so well tonight. Oh my goodness.
I am shocked. Let's see how the third one goes.
And then 15 for the
Oh,
last one.
Okay.
28.
All right. So
So-
yes, question.
Odelia would like to try and dance her way over to the old woman to get a closer look at what's going on over there and maybe speak to her if she can.
Okay. So Odelia, you made 2 very high checks. So you step into the reel with this woman with the flower on her apron, this very, very portly woman, and you are like the life of the party. Like you do you do a cartwheel at some point, and every time you pull off one of these astounding moves, everyone's like, hey, like, you know, like, oh, like that. And then you rolled the 15 and you kind of break away a little clumsily, but you're still like la la la, like down the pier as you make your way down towards this somewhat elderly lady who is dancing and looks as though she were in a bit of pain. And she looks up at you and she smiles at you, but you can tell she's in pain, and she's just kind of like doing this. Ow, my hip. What do you want to say to her?
I say, are you enjoying the day?
Of course, it's revelry hour. What's not to enjoy?
It seems like you're in a bit of pain.
I'm fine. I'm not in pain. I'm fine. Go. I'm fine. Leave me be.
But enjoy yourself.
I am having so much the fun. That is fun. This is lovely. I love. It's wonderful.
So she dances away. Now she's extra much looking at everybody, and she's definitely not eating the sticky bun.
Okay. All right. Same thing. It's only a few people, right? You do catch sight of someone else who looks a little bit unhappy. He is actually one of the people who's playing the violin, and he's one of the musicians who's playing. He wears a long green coat with a white shirt, and he's playing, and he's easily keeping the tune going, but he's looking around and he frowns a couple times, and you do notice that, but other than that, it's just kind of random reactions. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
some people yes, some people no.
She's
They-
just clocking it all.
Yeah, all the teenagers are like having a blast. The younger children that you see, not that there's a ton of them, but the younger children look like they're having a good time too. A lot of people seem pretty excited, but in any case, that is what you see. And they all go dancing a merry jig, and then boom, there is one loud note, and the dance just kind of ends, and there's, you know, applause and clapping, and the man in the green waist, the green overcoat with the white shirt, he stops and he takes up his fiddle and then goes to get himself a drink, and everybody just kind of stops and talks and kind of just sits, and it's social time. It's like church social. Some people are dancing, some people aren't. There's little music. Some people are at the buffet table. You know, all
It's a munch and mingle.
yeah, everybody's munch and mingling right now, kind of situation. Um, and you guys do notice that somebody walks through who's dressed just a little bit nicer than everybody else seems to be. And you notice that he's kind of like on patrol. He walks by and nods at people. And when he walks past them, everybody seems to smile just a little bit wider. And they look extra happy as he walks by. And anyway, it's interesting, but you definitely notice that as he walks by and whatnot. And then as it dances, Moroccan, the young girl, she says to you, "That was absolutely magnificent. I don't think I have ever partnered with anyone who has your energy and coordination. Where did you learn to dance?"
Oh, it's fun you say. And I just start babbling into just like whatever the like my absolutions that I do at my temple, like the katas of just doing my routines. Like that's all I was really doing. But I just go on and on and on about how I just
Okay. So she actually doesn't let you get too far before she interrupts you, and she's like, "Oh, you are a monk, yes? You are a warrior who fights with your fists." And then she puts both her hands on your arm, and she leans forward and giggles like like in a kind of a flirtatious way. And she says, "Well, I will tell you what." She says, you are a stranger here, no?"
Indeed, I have never been to this island before.
"Well, you should know, if you are a stranger here, that every night we have party or get together of some kind. And you see, if you want to know what's really going on in this town, I will tell you. But you have to meet me at the Rose of the Valley Theater, where there is dancing. There are several parties. You could go to the tavern. You could go to Tasteful Temptations and the sweets and but you should come with me, and we should dance together again at the Rose of the Valley Theater. What do you say? Will you come dance with me this evening?"
I am not certain if that will be in the cards, but if my companions have no other duties, then I will see you there tonight.
Oh,
Because
she looks at you.
Morocon's just like, this is just a cool little island. I think things aren't as bad as they seem.
Okay, so she looks at you.
Since I've rolled so well on my perception checks.
Yes, well, I mean, you could roll a perception check on her specifically if you so choose to, but you don't have to.
Oh, yeah, I think I will. It doesn't matter.
Okay, you think she wants to sell you cheese. You're reasonably sure that behind all of this is a desire to sell you cheese. But anyway,
I love that the charcuterie is not far.
yeah, no,
A nice cave-aged Gruyere.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe even a festive camembert, something
Very
Yeah.
good.
something like that. But that's your takeaway of Moral Con. Like, she says she wants to dance, but really there's queso. Like,
It's all
so
about the cheese.
yeah. In any case, that's what you pick up. Odelia, someone walks up to you, and the person who walks up to you looks a little bit tipsy, just a little bit tipsy, and he goes, "Hey, do you know the owner of the Divine Dragon?" Excuse me.
No, I don't. Do you?
I do. I go there every single evening. Every evening, whenever there is an evening, I go there. And you should go. If you think this stuff is good. And he lifts up his drink, Odelia, and he slops a little onto your feet. And he goes, "Oh, I am so sorry. Oh, how dare you clean something off the deck like that?" And he looks around and he's like, "I'm sorry. I'm a little muddled, but I'm telling you, this," and he holds up the mug, "is not the good stuff. Okay? The good stuff is the Divine Dragon. That man has more whiskey than you do."
All right.
All right.
You know, that's where we were just heading. So thank you very much for the review.
Well, you come by this evening. There's a party and there's stories, and we sing. There is songs too. We drink and we sing. Is so fun. Is the best ticket in town. I see you there tonight. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. In any case, so those two people go, and Thora, you actually managed to walk up to the pier just as you see everybody, you're dancing, and you're like, "Watcha, is that a group of people dancing on the pier?" And you're like, "No." Like, but it is. Like, there's a whole group of people dancing on the pier and on the dock. And then the music stops, and everybody's just kind of standing around. There's still some people playing music, some people socializing, other people drinking and eating. But everybody, it's like, it almost seems like everyone came out to meet you, and you managed to walk up to the pier, and you catch sight of Morocon, because he stands, you can kind of see him head above everybody else, like his little gold dragon head's popped up. Plus, not a lot of gold dragons everywhere in this crowd. Mostly what you're seeing is human.
I do
What you would
kind of
call
stand out.
He's what you would call a tall boy. I guess Thora will approach, and I imagine he's still mostly like ocean damp.
Yeah.
Like,
You're freaking soaked.
He didn't dry off. He just like got up and started moving. So like coming up the pier is this Swamp Thing-esque Thora who's just like squish, 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 squish. And he approaches the rest of his friends, and he's just like, "Well, I can't imagine my trip was better than yours."
Thora!
Hurrah! I go and I give him a big hug.
It is
Odelia
me.
grabs him around the knees.
Okay. All right. Both Odelia
you.
and Morocon are now
Thank you.
soaking wet. Like,
I don't mind.
yeah.
And it's
Odelia's
that like
used to it.
briny wet. It's that briny wet where it's just kind of nasty. So the dancing, that was a thing. Like,
Okay.
Must
Thora,
be some sort of
somebody
festival
catches you saying the dancing. That was the thing. And a woman in a very expensive like violet gown a little bit low cut with the straps along the side, right, bare shoulders, comes walking with her hair fine, coif up a little beehive and in the back, and a couple of jeweled combs in her beehive. And she walks up and she's carrying this platter of chocolates, and she says, well, of course there's dancing. Don't you have revelry hour where you come from?
Oh, well, occasionally people come to parties, but I don't participate.
Well, you won't get very far in our town with that attitude. Here, have a chocolate. And then she hands this tray over to you. They're delicious.
I don't indulge.
You don't indulge.
No.
You are in the wrong town, my friend, let me tell you. But I tell you what, I run a sweet shop, a delicacy shop of all kinds. You come this evening to my party. My shop is to the west, past all the houses, past the barber surgeon. You come to my party this evening, and I promise I will show you something that will make you want to indulge just a little. It would be my honor to have you.
Did
In
she
fact,
just say barber surgeon?
she said barber surgeon.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I,
She
it
says,
just
no, I don't take no for an answer, okay? You come to my party, and then we talk.
fine.
Okay.
And the reason I started laughing mid your your character moment was because I just realized he's in soaking wet burlap, which
Yeah.
if you've ever smelled wet burlap, smells like dead sheep.
Yeah. Well, and she will probably keep a respectable nasal distance from you as you do that. And she says, and you looks at you, she says, you wear whatever you like. Okay. You are welcome in my shop. Okay. I welcome you. You are my guest.
Okay. That's actually more generous than most party goers give. I usually have to try and upscale what I'm wearing, and
You don't worry about that. You don't worry about that. Maybe if I were you, I would not go to the Rose of the Valley Theater. The standard there, the dress is not so welcoming. I would avoid the Divine Dragon altogether as well. Come, it'll be home. We have fire, we have good food, good discussion, and you will be welcome. I have a few other guests. We'll show you some delicious delicacies. It is beautiful. See you tonight.
may I make an insight check on the delicious delicacies,
You
because I know where my
absolutely-
brain went, and that's naughty things.
Yes, you can
It
absolutely.
wasn't Turkish delights.
No.
No, he's thinking she wants to sample his goodies. Okay, it's JT. All right, you get me?
That burlap looked good.
Like, I'm just saying, some people know how to wear burlap. Okay, like
Nora's good at reading people. With a natural 6, that's 23.
okay. Ooh,
Wow.
Hey,
someone-
Cora.
someone has a beautiful gift of insight. Okay,
My
wow.
insight is huge.
alrighty. So with a 23, my friend, you feel like she means what she says. It's a sincere invitation, but you do feel like she wants something from you. And particularly, she wants something because you said that you don't indulge. Whatever it is about that has piqued her interest. Your attitude, your I don't want to party, I'm not a party goer attitude, has really piqued her interest in a big way.
Okay.
But the invitation, she seems sincere enough. She definitely has an ulterior motive, but that's it.
So Thora will turn back to the party and, like, almost as if the conversation never happened, he'll go, so what's the next step?
And Ariel, are you going to join the party, or are you continuing to watch? You saw Morocon pick Thora up, and his legs were kind of like wiggling. Like, Couple
If the
bucks
dancing,
fell.
if the dancing is over, Anduriel will come down, meet the rest of the crew. Yeah.
Okay. So the dancing has been over for a few minutes now, and so you've been walking
Yeah.
towards them for a little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You walk up in time to see this woman in the beautiful purple gown with the coiffed hair offer Thora a tray of chocolates, and him going no, and you see her kind of engage him. You see Odelia having a discussion, getting a drink spilled on her, and you see some quite young thing flirtatiously clinging onto Morocon and giggling at him. And as you walk by Anduriel, people kind of like, they're like, like, oh my. And a couple of the older women look at you and they start kind of like chuckling. And a couple of the girls notice you and they're like, oh. And a few of them, Anduriel, they're shyly like they just wave at you and they giggle and they turn around in a huddle, and you can tell probably not a ton of these people have seen a half angel before, and maybe they're not quite as used to. And you hear somebody whisper something about the Countess. That's all you really catch. There's some kind of a comparison between you and the Countess.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
that is all. So, alrighty.
All right.
So, everybody, after a few minutes, start to slowly break up. People start heading back to work, heading back to wherever it is they were, whatever they were doing beforehand. No sign of the harbor master and whatnot, but there you go. You have 3 invitations tonight that you've each been given. Do you guys want to head up and see if you can find the Divine Dragon Tavern, or do you want to go somewhere else and explore? What would you like to do?
Have I been able to keep a hold of Handsome Barrett in all this kerfuffle?
You have been able to keep a hold of him, mostly because he's too nervous. When everyone started dancing, he like dove behind a barrel. It was just too much stimulation for him. He was like, "Oh, make it stop! Music, loud noises, everyone!" So the dancing stops, the noise stops, all of that, and he comes running towards you, Odelia, or he scampers behind you. And when I say behind you, I mean he's like under. If you had longer legs, he'd be underfoot, literally.
Hey, Barrett, should we go find a place to stay and some food?
What do you mean a place to stay?
Wouldn't you like to sleep in a real bed, not on a ship?
In a real bed? You
Yeah.
mean like a bed like the captain had? Or
Oh, even better.
you want me to sleep in a bed better than the captain had? Like with sheets and
Let's
pillows?
go see if we can find one.
Are we gonna buy it?
No, in this, you can just buy sleep in there for a night or 2. That's what we'll do.
The store owners let you come sleep in their beds?
Yep. And they always have good things to eat too. We'll find lots of good things to eat around here, I think.
All right, he looks at you like he thinks this is really weird. Like people will let you pay to sleep in their beds. That's really weird. But you mentioned food, and he's like, okay, I'm down with any place that offers food, like or whatnot. So
before we venture forth, I did find a chest full of jewels and such. Would we like to split up the chest now? For equal shares.
Unless you want to be our treasurer for this trip.
I'm happy to hold
room and board.
I'm happy to hold the coin if you like.
That's fine with me.
That's fine with me. I mean,
All right.
Sufficient for me.
All right.
While this conversation is happening, the wind has whipped up a little bit. As Thora is like kind of casually casting chill wind to try and dry himself off.
Okay, so you're freezing sections of your robe, which almost makes it worse, and you're thoroughly soaked and whatnot. And as you guys are walking forward, Anduriel's getting stares. People are, I mean, a few people look at Thora because he's soaked, and he's also, using magic, and so he's catching a few people's eyes. But as you all walk by, there's a bunch of different kinds of looks people are throwing you. At MoralCon, they look at him and they're like, whoa. And a few of them, they wave. And a bunch of them look at Anduriel and they're like, oh my. And there's some blushes, and some of the gentlemen look at him like,
So, well, he's just going to be walking along, kind of ignoring all of it. And he'll be like, so, Thora, not dead, huh?
No, simply thrown overboard, it seems. I found myself on a beach, honestly. And he'll reach into like wherever he's been keeping these parchment dry, maybe even one of the bottles. He said, I found these. And he'll share the letters with the rest of the crew.
So we can read over them. Oh my, this is fascinating.
I was particularly insulted when he went to Finhafara and then decided halfway through to go with, the Lord of Undeath.
So what about the part where every person is a vampire? That didn't register. It was the whole Finhafara thing.
That was
Well,
a
that
rather
did
big
register.
sticking point for me as well.
No,
there's
that
the dragon.
But
Hi.
okay,
no, that
MoralCon,
registered,
just
but
so you know, your undead sense is not tingling.
It isn't? I was going to
It's
ask.
not. You're walking up and down there and you're like, none of these people look like vampires.
Right. My spider
Well,
sense is not tingling.
And honestly, that's what kind of confused me. We're in the sunlight. Every single member of the village seemed to be about.
As well.
Well-
Our companion here also roams around in the sunlight as well. I think there's some sort of caveat.
I mean, Anduriel's out in the sun. He's not even sparkling right now.
I'm a bit of an outlier as far as the undead vampire thing goes.
But
yes, you're right.
that's what I'm saying is maybe these people are too, because it did say in the one letter that I'm a vampire except when I'm not a vampire.
That
So
caught my eye as well.
I mean, maybe this is some kind of weird enchantment.
Either
Maybe
way,
it is an enchantment.
if you're in a town where everyone is a vampire, I think it is good that we go find somewhere to lodge this evening and probably stay close. And to be honest, I've heard all of your invitations, and I'm not going to do any of those things. Those sound horrible. I think we need to figure out a way to get out of this place and get back on track to where we're supposed to be going in the first place.
True. It would be rude to not at least make an appearance, though.
I mean,
I am
worry
interested
about
in what
being
this
rude
is.
on this island in the middle of nowhere where no one knows us and we'll never see them again. Is being rude really like a problem?
Well, then I'm
we're
shocked that
representatives.
Anduriel doesn't want to socialize. I am like,
Well,
what?
Moroccan got
represent?
really excited when the mention of the divine dragon inn, because there's a silver dragon that was there. Because the last time we went to some sort of a dragon inn, it went well.
Thora's gonna chime in with, well, we do represent the Hallowed Council. We do have to make certain allowances to present ourselves.
I suppose you're right. I'll present myself at this inn at the bar. Is that good?
That works.
Works for me. I did tell Handsome Barrett he could sleep in a real bed tonight too, so I do think we were all a bit beaten up. It would be nice to get a good night's sleep.
Well, then on to the inn.
Yes,
Okay.
I would rather not spend the night on the ship.
Lead the way.
Alrighty. So you guys want to head up the town. You pass, as you leave the docks, you pass a number of different shops. And that kind of seems to be a large portion of what the main street of the town is dedicated to. And it is a town that is on an incline. So the main street goes kind of up a small hill. It's not a steep incline, but it's definitive. And then high cliffs on either side and a thick and high wall at the end of the town. So you can see a number of kind of landmarks off in the distance. There looks to be some kind of a bell tower. You can see the gates at the end of the town, and you can see the inn that was being spoke of, and more or less it's kind of the, at least as far as you can see, it's the biggest building that you can see in town in the center. It really stands out, and it's kind of obvious that it's a tavern. There's a water tower, and as you go walking past the docks, you see a tannery. Somebody's out there kind of working on curing some hides. There's a candle maker out there, a bunch of candles you see in the window, and you also see another shop with just kind of like hanging meats and poultry. And you do pass the meat shop, and you see in the window there are more dead swans, and it really kind of catches your interest. Yes.
When we passed the tannery, could we see what kind of pelts he was working on?
Yes,
Were
they
they
were cow.
anything like the pelts in the ship? No, they were just leather, just regular leather.
It's just leather. It's just, yeah, they're cow hides. And
Okay.
it's quite
All right.
obvious that they're cow hides. Pretty
right.
normal. You could get closer if you want to see more of the operation.
No, that's all right.
Okay. Alrighty. So
Do
you
I make
also,
anything of the swans?
yeah, go ahead and make a nature check.
Ooh, 27.
Okay.
There it is.
It was pretty good.
Swans are not eating birds. They're not eating birds. Eating a swan is a little bit ridiculous. It's they're not good. They're tough. The meat's not good. Number one. Number two, among lovers of nature, it's just kind of an acknowledgement that a swan's purpose is beauty. And in fact, you may have even heard that at the shrine of Finhithara before, that every animal has a purpose that they've been ordained to, and swans were ordained to beautify. And so the idea that they're being served here prominently as food is pretty ridiculous. So
as he passes that, he will pause for a moment, but knowing the party has kind of a mission, he will catch up fairly quickly. But when he does, he'll say, "I'm liking this town less and less."
Okay.
Is that
Now,
because of the swans?
if you will excuse me for a minute, I have a child thing, so I'm going to go ahead and pause. Alrighty, and we're back after dealing with a minor child moment, which is part of the gig. You're a parent 24/7, and you're a parent even when you're streaming. So now back to the story. And so in any case, Thora, you catch sight of the swans. They're not eating birds. They've been hung up next to the other poultry. And you said, "I'm liking this town less and less." Was there any reaction to that I missed?
Just perhaps it's a delicacy of this island.
Well, they don't. From from a divine perspective, they're specifically designed to be beautiful. They don't taste good. I just don't see the reason they'd be used unless it was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, who eats stuff like swans anyways? That's weird.
I mean, do you know
Exactly.
something we don't?
Look, I don't like this town because everybody has to party at like certain hours of the day and everybody wants to whatever. But
It doesn't seem so bad.
I know, but it is. Trust me. It's never good. Random street dancing. That never ends well, Dragon. Mark my words.
It was really sketchy. There were a few people that I noticed that were not enjoying themselves, but looked like they were, like it was compulsory maybe.
Who has the power to compel people to dance daily? That's
Kevin Bacon.
Somebody-
Sorry, I had to.
somebody
Really
could come
bad
up to me.
takeaway.
Like if someone came up to say, Anduriel, we need you to dance every day at 4 o'clock, I would say no. And that would be the end of it.
Well, I mean, Lachlan could.
I would
Did it to
say
me
no to
more than
Lachlan,
once.
and then I would smack him in his stupid face.
All right, so you guys go walking past a number of shops, and that is when you hear the unmistakable sounds of a student band. They're
They're doing their best.
dogs in the back going like it's just, I mean, it's terrible. And you walk past a music shop and you can see there's a number of stringed instruments in the window, and past that in a kind of a larger theater-esque kind of chamber, you can see there's a bunch of children playing music, and that guy in the green coat is just kind of directing, and he keeps directing as he walks away to the door, and he grabs the door and he catches sight of you guys in the street, and he gets kind of a really fretful look on his face, and he looks at you, and I want you to make an insight check to see if you can read him.
I'm good at those.
12.
23.
What's our highest number? 13, 23?
I had 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 11.
All right, so Odelia, Morocon, and Enduriel, you are almost positive that he has to go to the bathroom, and that he's stuck there with this student band, and he can't stop because parents have already paid, so he can't walk out on the lesson like I just did on the game. He's like this, and yada, yada, yada. But Thora, you
been
look
there.
at him, and you get the distinct impression that he wants to say something to you, and that he's worried or he's sad, but he decides against it and closes the door. And that's it. And then you walk past a mercantile store, unless you stopped, and a number of brightly colored houses. Remember, happy bright colors on these houses. Reds, greens, bright yellows. It's really, really vibrant. It's a lot like what you would expect of the Vistani. There are traces and touches of Vistani culture all over the town, and everyone kind of seems to speak with that cadence. And then you walk past a bakery, and Odelia, the woman who dragged your hand out, is in the window pounding bread, and she sees you walk by, and she goes,
Hi there. I'm gonna pop
See,
in the shop.
Odelia, I think you have a fan.
Let's find out. She's friendly. Maybe we can get some information here. Handsome Barrett, come with me into the shop.
All right, he sees bread and he's like, okay,
Yeah. Let's go get some buns.
okay.
So we go into the shop and I say, okay, Bennett, you can pick out anything you wish from the shop here.
Anything I want?
One of anything that you want.
All right, so he's just
take your time and look at everything that's on the shelves, and then you can decide. And then I'm gonna try and strike up a conversation with the lady.
all right. So handsome Barrett is dazed. He's only has a standard action. He's overwhelmed by the smell and the appearance of the bread. And the thing is, it's not just bread. It's artisan breads and cookies and pastries, and the smell just hits you. And as you walk in, she goes, fresh garlic bread out of the oven. You maybe want to take some to your pale friend out there. No, she doesn't say that. I'm just kidding. Like, feed him garlic,
Dang,
have
she's
him
got a
drink
good
this
eye.
holy water. No, but she does say fresh garlic bread out of the oven. Ooh. And then she says, smell that. And then she goes back to pounding the bread. And she goes, welcome to Port Revalria. You are perhaps a cousin of... Oh, sorry, 1 second. I gotta find this fool's name. There's ever so many people here.
Insert name.
Oh, sorry, he's at the top. That was my one. She says, you are, but she pounds the bread. You are perhaps a cousin of Lombardo.
Oh, is he you mean the owner of the Silver Dragon or the Divine Dragon?
Yes, the Divine Dragon. Oh, he makes a wonderful whiskey. And she goes, keeps pounding the bread. And she says, but between you and me, she says, his cooking is not quite as good as mine. And then she just keeps pounding the bread, rolling it over. And she says, you want some fresh garlic bread? You are here for, or can I interest you in something sweet, perhaps? I notice your young man here eyeing these sweet rolls. They are 2 for 1. If you buy the day old, you can get 3. And she says that, and Odelia, he looks up at you like, 3.
How bad, dude?
Oh, that sounds lovely.
And he points to the sweet rolls like,
oh, this is better. He's at that age where they're just always hungry.
oh, she looks at you. She says, well, do I know that?
Have you any parents of your own?
Oh, I've got 3 precious gems. And then her face gets a little bit serious. Then she smiles again.
How old are they?
Oh, my bairns. And she says, they are all grown now, moved away. One of them lives in town, and 2 of the others have moved on to Striganesca. You know, that big city life.
Where's that?
Striganesca.
Yeah.
It's well, we don't really have a capital. I suppose we would have a capital wherever the Countess lives, blessed be her name. But she does not live with us, obviously. And she goes pounding out there, and she says, but Striganesca is the biggest settlement we have on the island.
So who's this Countess I keep hearing about?
And she says, the Countess? You have not heard of her?
No, we're new here. We just washed up.
Oh, the summer lady. She says, why, she is the light by which we live our lives. She is healing and beauty and song made flesh. She holds the darkness at bay and keeps our communities safe from the dangers in the wild. She is the ruler over our island and our hearts until she can find another to take her place. It is only her due, I suppose, but we shall miss her terribly. I can't imagine the girl divine enough to sing her songs. Still, all the young girls hope and pray they might be considered. It is only natural. My daughter, Irina, and she pounds the bread. She hoped for it one day, but she gave that up, as many of the children do.
So what did that mean for her to give it up?
Oh, It means that she gave up the foolish notion. Nothing more. She thought that she might be the Countess's heir. All the girls think that. They all hope for it. Is normal to wish and hope, knowing that she is looking for an heir. She does not belong among us mortal folk. It is silly to expect to be the one, but someone must be the one eventually, I suppose.
You called her the the summer lady or something like that?
And she says, indeed, she is the summer lady. We call her that because it was her that brought a season of plenty. She says, you have never heard of the Countess?
No, but I have heard of people trying to find a new summer lady. That's a bit worrying, honestly.
What you heard was the vessel of summer, but yes, that's mentioned.
Yeah.
And she
She's
says,
just making some connections between young ladies wanting to be the heir and young ladies being forced to find out if they are the heir.
interesting. So she kind of goes on and she tells you a rather amazing story, and all this while she's pounding the bread and putting it and cutting it up into loaves and everything. And she tells you that there was a time on the island of Desmare, and it was more or less after or around the Shattering Era, right? Which was a time that all of you are familiar with in the history of Aeonia. And it was a time when natural law began to break down because the old gods had abandoned the world. And on the island of Desmare, she tells you there was trouble between the Vistani and the elves. And she said that the Countess was the first cleric that they had of the outer gods, the new gods who came to rule over the world. She tells you she's a priestess of the goddess of love and music.
That's interesting.
She is a saint made into flesh. Of course, we do not see her. She is very busy tending to the affairs of our island.
Of course. And does she live in this big city you were talking about?
In Striganesca? Oh,
yes,
no.
Striganesca.
No. She lives up in the castle.
Oh, all right. Well,
Castle Summertide. That is her home.
Castle Summertide.
She says, it is a blessed place. Only the most devout, holy, and worthy are called to work in the castle. It is a beautiful place. I have seen it from a distance, of course, as most people are, but the gates are shut, and as I said, only the most holy wind up there. And she says, and I'm afraid with my passion for the drink and other things, I'm afraid I am not nearly temperate enough to wind up there. No, holier people than me. But she goes on and tells you just a little bit more that basically there was a time when the Vistani and the elves were at war, and that the Countess, she put a stop to all of it because she was the first cleric that was called of the new gods. And she tells you a story and says that where she walked, fruit trees and golden wheat sprang up, and says, you can still visit the island in the place where she walked. She walked in the middle of a battleground. A war was raging. Elf was killing Vistana, and it was terrible. And her song ended the conflict like a miracle. And it was not the only miracle she performed. And so we live in perpetual peace because of it. It is for this reason that we celebrate. It is a commandment.
Oh, the you're talking about the dancing.
Of course, the revelry.
It's a commandment.
Of course it is a commandment. We have known nothing but peace and prosperity for centuries. Of course, except for the wilderness, of course, but we don't venture out into the wilderness. There is very little need.
And is that every day?
That we rejoice, of course. We have so much to rejoice for.
Certainly.
You are from the mainland. things I imagine are a little bit different here. You're sure you have never heard of the Countess? That is so odd.
Well, we're not as blessed as you are, clearly.
Oh, we are a very blessed island. I think some of the younger folk, they do not realize how much we have for which to be grateful. But there is much.
Clearly. All right, well, we'd best be getting on. And I pay her for the sticky buns.
Okay. All
Is
right.
our money good here?
Oh yeah, they'll take your coins. She does pause and look at your Adari knights, though, and she goes, "Oh, but silver is silver, gold is gold, whatever." And
I was gonna have you pay for it with a bloody golden tooth, but I mean, the coin is fine.
I think she's
Thank
using her
you.
coins and not the treasure, but
No, that makes no sense.
so Odelia pops in there. Do the rest of you continue on to the Divine Dragon, or do you wait for her?
Let's
Thora
say
will
that-
wait.
Well, if Thora's going to wait, then I'll probably stick around too. I'll be droning on about, so you see, it isn't actually possible for a golden dragonborn to get sunburned. So I'm just droning on.
I love
Dragon
his little-
splaining everything.
I love his little monologues. I love them so much.
It's like- it reminds me very much of Rose's St. Olaf stories, but a little bit younger. Anyway, I like it. Okay, so Odelia comes popping out, and you guys continue on to the Divine Dragon. Odelia, do you chat with your party? Do you tell them anything, or?
I'll give him the full rundown of everything the lady in the bakery told me.
So she seemed kind of sad that her kids aren't around.
Well, I think any mother's sad when their children aren't close by.
Wish that were true of my parents.
Really quickly, who cares? This countess is interesting. I think we should try to pay the countess a visit as members of the Hallowed Council, of course, you know.
Oh,
Perhaps
sure,
we could-
cleric to cleric.
Perhaps we can get an audience.
I believe.
Yeah,
that's
too bad we don't
brilliant.
have Lachlan around.
I think we can take care of ourselves without him.
I was thinking it would be nice for him to meet another love cleric.
Oh, I don't think the world is ready for that.
Agreed, halfling. Insufferable is the word that comes to mind.
Okay, so you guys wind up making your way towards the Divine Dragon, and you do catch sight of a big old tavern sign. There is a swinging sign in the front of this 2-story tavern, and it is more than just an ordinary silver dragon that's been painted. I'd like you all to make a knowledge religion check, if you would, please.
Okay.
Something I'm trained in. Hooray.
Me too, and I finally rolled well. 27.
23.
16.
Okay, so Thora, you recognize that it's not just a painting of a dragon that's carved into the wood of this sign. It's a holy symbol, and you're pretty sure it's a holy symbol of a dragon god, or at least it's the same style as a holy symbol that you have seen in a book. But the rest of you rolled much higher than that. I think. What did Odelia get?
10.
10. Okay, Odelia, it's a pretty dragon, and you guys realize that it's not just a pretty dragon. It is the style of the holy symbol of Bahamut, or Bahamut, who is the dragon god. He is the dragon god antithesis of Tiamat. He's the dragon god of justice and good and honor and loyalty, all knightly kind of virtues. He is Tiamat's antithesis in good, and it's his holy symbol that's been carved into into the sign, and it says across the sign, it says the Divine Dragon, and it's a beautiful, pleasant looking little inn.
Orocon's very excited about this.
On we go.
All right, so you all head into the inn, and Odelia, one of the first things that you notice on walking in is that this inn has been made to accommodate humans and halflings. So there are a number of tables in this inn that are a little bit smaller, with just a little bit smaller chairs, and even the bigger chairs, the legs of them have had wood steps carved into one of the legs, so that a halfling or anyone who's smaller could easily get up there. And the bar is just a little bit smaller, and standing behind the bar, just kind of putting a bunch of glasses up and tidying things up, is a plump, jolly looking, ruddy, big cheeked, chubby little halfling man, and he is humming merrily as he goes about his tasks, like he loves his job, and going about there. You also hear clanking pots from a room or a door in the back, and you hear a woman humming through there. And he's so busy and he's moving so quickly, he just doesn't seem to have noticed you yet.
Yes, John.
So am I actually allowed in? Because the lady said that I might not be allowed in.
What lady said you might not be allowed? Oh,
the lady with the
that was one of her
confections.
selling points. Yeah.
He doesn't
He was
say
like,
a
"You
word.
won't be allowed in."
Oh.
Okay, I just figured I'd check.
You.
They don't serve your kind, boy.
Oh, soaking wet.
Yeah, but like I said,
So-
he hasn't even noticed you.
Okay.
As you walked in, he's running back and forth and putting glasses up on the bar, and he seems to be taking some kind of account or inventory.
Okay.
So
I
are
just
all the
figured I'd remind
chairs-
you just to be safe.
Good idea. The DM
So
forgets
all
things.
the chairs and tables are like human and halfling size. So would it look like I'm sitting at the kids' table at Thanksgiving? Like if I were to go and try to sit
you
somewhere?
if you sat at the tables by the bar, then you would look like you were like in the primary chairs. Yeah, in church, like the little kid chairs.
Okay.
You would look.
My knees are up into my chest.
You would look a little redonkulous, and you would be able to chew on your knees. But yes.
Well, I will very excitedly walk up to the barkeeper. Excuse me.
And he goes, "Oh!" He looks up
Hello
and he goes, "Oh, my apologies." He says, "I didn't hear you come in. I've been trying to get this inventory here done, and you know what the wife is like if I don't get the inventory done before the crowd gets here tonight, right? I mean, we got to keep. I mean, I can't get a new shipment of these mugs unless we send for them from Striganesca, and that's the journey. And it's more trouble than there's so with the moving and the wagons, and then somebody's got to ask Madame Desteria when it's safe to send the caravan, and I don't know when that could be. So with the glasses.
He said, "You know what the wife is like," and I started staring woefully into the middle distance, like, "Yes, I know."
And then Duriel makes a comment like, "Yes, the dragon married a fish."
A single tear drips down, and as it reaches Morokan's mouth, it evaporates from the heat.
All right. And he looks up and sees the rest of you, and he goes, "Oh," he's like, "So I see we have more than one stranger, don't we? Well, that's fine. Come on in. We can accommodate all of you. I've got plenty of rooms upstairs. We don't, we don't have a ton of visitors right now. So, how long are you going to be staying?"
That is an excellent question.
I'm assuming you're all going to want a room. You all want your own room. None of you is married, are you?
No.
This
Again,
question, I
Oricon
guess.
stares into the middle distance.
Like,
Do you have any rooms with 2 nice beds that young Barrett here could sleep with me?
He says, "Oh, we have twin. Yeah, we have a couple twin rooms. We can definitely accommodate you. No problems. So you won't be staying too long. Just one night. Well, I'm glad you'll at least be here for one night. You can come downstairs for the party."
Yes.
Sora's
bakery
countenance
you invited
drops.
me.
What's that? I'm sorry, Odelia. What was that?
Oh, I just said that nice lady at the bakery you told me about your party. She said it was the best in town.
Oh, she says, and wouldn't she know it? She's sampled more than a little bit of my whiskey. Sometimes I struggled to keep our town well supplied, you might say. But
She did mention the whiskey.
well, she does have a fondness for it. Of course, a lot of people do. I do have a crowd of regulars that come in here. There are about 5 people, 6 people come in every night. Sometimes people bring their kid in for their first taste, before we get them. I get regulars. It's just kind of how things run in the town. People do tend to keep to their own, but we do have the best party in town, and there'll be singing. Sometimes there's dancing, and the best part is the sing along and the drinking. I'm assuming you're familiar with sea shanties.
Oh yes, I love a good shanty.
It's like, do you ever do any verse? Do you ever make up your own verses?
I've been known to drop a rhyme or 2.
All right, he says. Well, wonderful. You'll join us tonight. Y'all look, if you don't mind me saying, y'all look a little bedraggled. Rough voyage.
You have no idea.
We
We would love to get some beds and get some rest before the parties.
He says, well,
He's still wet.
he looks at you. Oh my goodness, you are wet, aren't you? Oh, and so is the floor now. No, never mind. That's not a problem. And he leans back. He leans kind of just back over, and he goes, Anita, what? And he goes, it's send up for some dry clothes. And she goes, you send for some dry clothes. I've got stuff in the oven. And he says, I'm doing the inventory. You said if I didn't do the inventory, that there'd be hell to pay. I gotta do the inventory. You tell me you don't want me to do the inventory? And she goes, do I have to do everything around here? Call for a runner. And anyway, if this goes back and forth, he goes, you just get settled upstairs. I'll run a nice hot bath. Actually, maybe you've had enough water. But I'll get you some fresh clothes. I can have this dried for you too, if you want. We can stretch it out and hang it out on the line, and we'll send up.
He's very attached to his burlap. So yes, that's a must.
What's your preferred color, son?
He looks down at what he's wearing. I'm simple.
Okay. What's funny too, because you don't look. He doesn't look any older than you do. Like, and you're a half elf too, so you're like you're probably older than he is. He calls you son, but the way he says it is so friendly. You're like, oh, he doesn't mean any harm.
It's no problem at all. Honestly, if there are towels in the room, that is honestly all I'd need, at least for a little bit.
Okay. Alright, he goes, no problem. I'll bring up some fresh towels. It's just me and the missus running the inn, you understand. We had some help, one of the young people, but they went off to Striganesca. So, and you know how the young people go chasing off the big city dreams. They'll be back.
Do a lot of your young people go off to Strigadestra?
Oh, not too many of them. We don't have too many people that leave here. Of course, the Baroness doesn't like it when people lay aside their role, you understand. Children ought to follow in the footsteps of their parents, or at least that's what the way things ought to be. They don't always do that. But yeah, the Baroness, she lets some of the kids know when it's safe to travel the caravans. It's not often, but we do lose a few now and then. But we're so happy here. Most people want to stick around. Even if they don't end up working in their parents' profession, they'll find something to do around here. There's always a need for help. Like I said, I haven't been able to find anybody to help here. From out in the kitchen, you hear, We don't need any help. And he just kind of smiles back at the kitchen and laughs a little bit. He goes, go on upstairs. I'll send up some towels. I'll send up for some clothes. What's your color, young man?
Brown. I don't any color, honestly. But before I go, the music shop down the road.
Oh yeah.
Who's the owner?
1 second. Oh, the luthier, which is a word I just learned today. It means someone who makes musical instruments.
Oh, luthier.
He goes, the luthier. Oh, that's Haradane Rosu. Yeah, he makes all the musical instruments in the town. He's quite talented. He does brass and woodwind. Can you believe it? We're quite lucky to have him here. He's quite the artisan. He's also the music tutor for the town, so everybody sends their children to him. He's got generations here in the town. Absolute generations. His line goes all the way back to before the Countess.
Dang. I just was curious because I'd like to pop in at some point.
Oh,
And
well, he'll be
it's
giving
rude not
music
to know
lessons
someone's
until at least sundown.
Okay.
But you don't want to pop down to the music store after sundown. That's when all the customers start coming in.
Well,
And the stories and those no, you go upstairs, have a rest, come back down when the party starts. You can talk to him in the morning.
Okay, goodbye.
Thora crumples a little bit.
Okay.
But yes. Well,
So
Alright.
as everyone starts heading upstairs, I'll hang back just a little bit. I'll lean into the barkeeper and just be like, he likes the color yellow.
Okay. All right. He looks at you and he goes, well, that's actually good because, see, we don't have any brown. That's not really a color that it's a little drab. You know what I mean? Like you might find a brown belt or so, but I was going to have to get him mustard. That was the closest I was going to be able to come to it. I'm glad to hear he likes yellow. I'll get him something nice and bright. Don't you worry. Yeah, no problem. All right. So you now have the opportunity to go upstairs and have yourself a long rest if you'd like.
yes,
will take
please.
that opportunity.
Please.
You're like, everybody's falling. Okay. That's something good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Don't twist my arm.
Yeah, because you came like just around noon, and so you're more than capable of going upstairs and getting yourself an 8-hour rest or 6-hour rest or whatever. But you get all your power points back, all of your power, and your action points. Your action points come back. You are good to go with this little rest that you're having. And so you guys go upstairs. And shortly after you, and he yells up for you, he goes, you can pick any room you want. And more or less just kind of tells you, he brings up some tea, tells you to have a good rest. And he says, he'll see you tonight. And he winks at you. And Thora, you will awaken. And right outside your door on the floor is a pair of white pants and this brightly colored yellow puffy pirate shirt. Like, I mean, it's just a whole lot of, yeah.
Like full on canary.
Yes, bright canary yellow.
Like the color of Matt's shirt right now.
This is actually orange. I'm wearing a Halloween shirt for you because
Yay,
we're Halloween and we love Halloween here. But yes, that is definitely the case. So everybody goes upstairs and has themselves a nice long rest.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so it's about 8-9 o'clock, and you cannot sleep anymore. Okay, because from downstairs there is the sound of clanking of goblets together and laughing and people slapping the table, and there's lively music in the corner. It is just, there's no way you could sleep if you tried to. So do you want to go downstairs, any of you, or are you gonna wait where you are?
Thora will, but he's gonna do Imagine Stryker from Lord of the Rings, except it's not like cool. It's like, God, I am a wallflower.
Okay.
And he's
Alrighty.
trying to find an excuse to excuse himself to go to the luthier and to this confectioner's place because he's confused and curious.
So he'll put an arm around Thora and just be like, "Come on, buddy, let's seize the night. Let's do this."
He's got like a cup of tea.
Okay. All right. So the tea is kind of cold at this point, but Morocom comes downstairs with Thora's arm around him. And as you guys walk down the stairs, there's a hey, and everybody raises their glasses to you. Anduriel and Adelia, do you follow them?
Yeah, Enduriel is gonna go down and just make a beeline for a seat in a corner somewhere.
Okay. I
The
feel
real
like
Stryker.
Strider, is that who you
Strider.
mean? Striker.
Yeah, it's been a long
Striker
time.
is Airplane, the movie Airplane, which I think Poinketh is going to have a field day with. But I will go ahead because it seems pertinent and bring up the map for you, shall I?
Oh no.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to give you an idea of the layout
Gotta
here.
have us a bar fight.
Oh, goodness gracious. Everybody is so very suspicious.
Us? A bar fight? That doesn't seem.
This is just what maps generally mean.
All right.
There's like an 80% chance that when a map comes out, we're gonna get into a fight.
Well,
That's
I'm not
Or
saying it's
statistics.
impossible.
Or maybe it's just a nice map, and we can't have an episode without a map in it.
Well, I will also tell you, because I don't know where you may get in to some kind of altercation, I
You
actually
always gotta have one prepared.
I have maps of like 8 locations in the town. So
Wow.
unfortunately, you cannot read in to that. Can you all see it?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So all
Or
y'all
hears the sound of a map coming out, and he goes screaming out the door. No!
okay. So you head on down there and everyone's like, "Hey." And a young man or a kind of middle-aged man walks up to you with a clean-shaven face and his hair tied back in a tail, and he looks up at Morocon and he says, "You are a dragon."
Yes, I am. Like Morocon's very boisterous. He's very excited about being in an inn dedicated to Bahamut.
Okay, he looks at you and he says, you are gold dragon, like not like the sign. You are different, no?"
That is correct, but I can assure you that I am filled with light and revelry.
Well, that is good enough for me. So what do you do? What do you dragon with? How do you dragon? Is it like this? And he goes like, there's some giggling and some laughter.
Oh, is it the name of a dance?
Is that
Do the
Say-
dragon.
do the track? Is that like the Batusi? Like
Yeah, I know it might be like the Batusi. I'm not sure. So any questions you want to ask anybody or anything you want to do before the festivities begin?
well, I'm gonna grab a couple of drinks and make sure that I bring one over to Thora because he seems kind of gloomy. And
Okay,
Duriel always looks gloomy, so I'm not gonna bother with that. That's a lost cause.
pretty
but-
much. Yeah, you're pretty much wasting your
Uh,
time.
I'm brooding. Thank you.
All right.
Brooding.
Yeah, you keep saying you're not like an emo type of thing, but like
right.
But there's some
Dude.
brooding going on.
Hey, brooding
Yes.
is multifaceted. All right.
anyone
Yeah.
can brood.
I'm deep.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm so deep.
Batman broods and he's cool.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
the coolest.
Yes.
And Duriel's just gonna get a whiskey and go sit at the table. No
Right.
talkie. No talkie, no touchy.
No talkie, no touchy. Got the idea. All right. So Anduriel, don't talk to me. I'm not your friend. All of the above.
Well, I'm their friends, but I'm not everybody else's friend.
All right. So tell me where you want to be, Anduriel.
23. I can't see the top, but yeah, that chair.
All right. So Anduriel, you sit down to the chair. There's people at every table, right? So you sit down to the chair, and the people at the table point up to this griffin's head back there, and they go, "Hey, that's a griffin head. You seen that?"
So it is.
Yeah, he says that you heard the story of that griffin head, haven't you?
Oh, many times. It doesn't bear repeating.
Well, and he launches right into the story. Like it doesn't even wait 2 seconds. Launches right on into that story. Doesn't stop him. And what he basically says is that the griffin's head was from the time when the elves were at war with the Vistani, and he tells you that the elves used griffin mounts in that war, and that griffin head was brought back, and it was a gift from the elves to the town to signal that the war had ended. And isn't that marvelous? And don't you love it?
That's a fascinating story as always. Yes.
And why is it pairing the two of you here?
Because
So
Thor
annoying.
doesn't want to go
Best
party. He wants to hang
friend.
out too.
Something like that. All right, well, we need to click off and then click again and then move. Oh, boogers. All right, let me get you. Oh,
Language.
and
Holy cow,
Dury,
this is a family. You said PG-13, dude.
yeah, sorry. Wow, I guess
That's some harsh language you're saying there, mister.
yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you. All right, so Thor and Morocon, you guys gonna go to the bar, or are you gonna sit at another table?
Well, Morocon's going to a bar so that he can get a drink and bring one to Thora. So wherever Thora ends up, that's where Morocon is going to end up.
All right. So Morocon, you come up to the bar, and the bartender is that halfling gentleman, and he steps up to the bar, and it's a sense you're kind of looking down, but he's got it at just the perfect level to where someone of average height could sit there. So your knees are a little higher to the bar than you're used to. But moving over there. And anyway, general festivities and all moving on. And he strikes up conversation with you. Odelia, where are you going to be?
Sitting at the table with Anduriel.
Oh, you come and sit with Anduriel anyway. All right.
Yep.
So Anduriel, you're trying to be grumpy in the corner, and Odelia comes and sits right next to you.
He's cool with her.
Yeah, I don't get all up in his business.
Better than these townsfolk. These
Townies.
Better than these townies. Okay. All righty. And then we have, who have I missed here? I've got
Me.
Thora.
Thora.
Oh, God.
all righty.
You missed Bugs.
There. All right, there we
Mr.
go.
Bugs.
Oh, for the love of
What's up,
Thor.
Doc?
There we go. Boom. All right. So festivities go on. There's quite a bit of dancing, and the night starts to drag on. There's dance. Do you guys participate in the dancing and the singing and whatnot? No, none of that.
Unless
Morocon.
Thora is dragged. He will participate if he is dragged.
Morocon starts dragging Thora
There
out
it
to the
is.
dance floor. He is just determined to get someone to be happy with him.
And it's
Okay.
not that he's not happy, he's just not good at crowds.
Right. Right.
All right.
People mistake it for not being happy. I'm perfectly happy being quiet with my thing of whiskey and my halfling friend.
Who
Woo.
is expanding. All right. So I'm just putting him up there for you. Not because anything is going to happen, but just because I want you to have an idea of where everybody is. Stop it. I'm not
Just spatial awareness. Got it.
DM lies.
spatial awareness. Okay. So you got the door right here, the stairs to the second floor going up here, and lampposts. So the hour drags on, it gets to be about 11:30, all of this, business and dancing and singing. And a few people start to clear out, but there are about 5 people in here who are, they're not leaving. They will not clear out. They are just a little bit too happy. And the later it gets, the happier they get. And that's when the innkeeper starts to partake of his own brew. So at that point, Lombardo is his name, Lombardo Stoyan. He says, well, I may as well have a few too. And he pours himself a flagon of whiskey and then just like, and his
Wow.
wife Anita,
Wow.
she comes out, she's a quite a plump little halfling, brings out food, meals. She makes, all kinds of delicacy. She serves, chicken in orange sauce, just, all kinds of yummy deliciousness. Other people, she's got stew on the fire. So everything's going, but it just gets louder. And then long about 11:45, everybody is just kind of getting really tired. And just this veneer, or this feeling of kind of melancholy sets into the area. And everybody just kind of starts looking at each other, and they kind of look like the drink just isn't as delicious. Food's just not as good. Some people are still singing, but they're singing like half-heartedly, and everyone's like, and you get close to midnight, and people start to just kind of look a little bit nervous, and the innkeeper looks up at you, Moral Khan, and from behind the bar he raises his drink, but he does it kind of like, and that is when you hear the bells again.
Oh.
I'm waiting for you to play bells. Are you playing bells, or is that?
I am playing
That's why-
bells. Let's see
that's
what
why-
I can do to make
That's
sure
why
that y'all
there was a
hear
long
it.
pregnant pause there. I was more waiting. I thought you were gonna play some sounds.
I was. Give the kid a moment.
No rush. By the way, I looked down at my second monitor while you were in screen share, and it said 10:20, and I was like, it can't be 10:20. We started at 10 my time. And then I turned over here and I was like, oh, it's 12:30 my time. I'm looking at his screen.
You've traveled back in time, Jonathan. Welcome.
I have become
I'm
the
glad it's
master
not
of time.
12:30 our time, because I'm already falling asleep.
Yep. Yeah, we're fading here.
I
Okay.
get that.
So let's try this
I
one.
get that.
Let's try this one more time, shall we?
Bing bang, bing bang.
Yeah. Come on, internet. You can do it.
Is somebody getting married?
Is somebody
Ding,
getting?
ding, ding,
It's
ding, ding,
Morocco.
ding, ding.
Oh, it's loading. We'll talk about killing the mood.
I would like to think that while I'm uncomfortably dragging,
Ha.
I'd like to think that while I'm uncomfortably dragging Thor out onto the dance floor, that I'm trying to teach him how to have more control over his cybernetic arm and leg, so that he can punch and kick a little better.
That's cute.
But I'm trying to do it in such a way that's like, oh, this is fun. Check this out. Now you can have more power in this.
Okay, so you guys are embroiled in this conversation, and Thora's
He
like
appreciates
he's humoring you and appreciating it apparently. So the bells begin to chime, and as they do, Lombardo puts his head down, and as the bell chimes, he closes his eyes as though he's kind of gripped by pain. And then he puts his hands on the side of his head, and he looks up in kind of terror and panic and awareness filling his expression. And that is when you see twin pinpricks of red light emerge from his eyes. And he opens his mouth and starts to tremble as long fangs tear their way out of his mouth. And then his skin grows pale and gray, and all trace of personality seems to flee his expression as a sinister hunger fills his face.
I look down at my whiskey and I'm like,
I look over at Andrea. You know what's happening?
Thora sighs.
Well,
and looks
Odelia,
to
my friend,
Andrew.
I think it's pretty obvious what's happening right now. We've got some vampires on our hands, don't we?
Okay, Anduriel, you have never heard of anything like this happening before, but he is not the only one in the room who seems to have experienced this transformation.
They're like were-vampires.
There
Kinda.
are 4 people who were sitting at the table, and the same thing happens to them. The bell chimes and they start shaking. Fangs drop down out of their mouth, and then panic comes on their face. And you are facing 5 hungry and vicious looking vampires. And it is, in fact, ladies and gentlemen, initiative.
All right.
Odelia, you didn't happen to save any of that garlic bread, did you?
Oh, holy crud. I might actually do good in initiative for once.
29.
29, Anduriel.
25.
16.
25, Odelia. 16, Morocon. And Thora?
22. I have never rolled higher than 20 in initiative ever.
Huzzah!
Woo! Go before me.
Okay. So, Anduriel, the Lombardo, the innkeeper, this kind of tiny vampire, his fangs go down and he just looks at you guys and he's like this. And then he looks over at Morocon and looks like he is about to leap over that bar, just the bar right there. And Anduriel, you, unfortunately for him, react first.
So I see the bartender, and I also see the guy that are at our table going crazy, right?
Yep.
So who do I? Actually, bartender looks. You said the bartender looks like he's the closest to acting on his new anger or whatever.
Well, they all look to be moving at about the same speed or pace.
Okay, well, Morocon and Thor are together, so Andero is going to stick with Odelia, and we're going to go after number 3. He's going to shout out, "Whatever you do, don't let them bite you." And then he's going to attack with Weapon of Divine Protection with the Leviathan's Tooth on number 3.
Alrighty.
Actually, hold on. It's a burst 3. Does that catch Odelia?
The Leviathan's Tooth, yeah, that will definitely catch Odelia.
Never
You'll
mind.
flatten her like a pancake.
I'm just going to use a regular attack then. Sorry.
Thank you
I'm gonna-
for your consideration.
Yeah, that's usually his go-to move at the beginning. Gonna drop a daily. Can we do dailies now?
Yeah,
Rest?
you've got everything back. You had a long rest.
All right, Divine Juggernaut it is. This is versus armor class.
Okay.
It's a melee attack, and so with my Shadowgate armor, with the Ring of Phantasmal Approach, I get to make this attack with greater advantage,
Yep, so you roll twice.
Ooh.
which is good. That was a 3. Much better. 26.
Okay, that is a hit, my friend.
Okay. roll the dice for the damage die.
So are you going to move up to him then?
Yeah, move over to him and attack.
Are you on top of the table? You're just going to come around.
I mean, he's gonna do the table. That's a little bit more dramatic. He likes that.
Okay, if you move over to here, then Odelia will get that benefit because you'll be adjacent to her when you use the power.
Over right there. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so damage wise, we're looking at 3, 4, 5. 18 points of damage.
Okay.
And then until the end of the encounter, when I use healing word or channel divinity, the target takes additional damage. And you and my allies adjacent to me get temporary hit points.
How many?
Boy.
That would be 3 temporary hit points for
Okay.
me and Odelia.
So, Anduriel, you leap on top of the table. This is Divine Juggernaut, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're filled with divine power. Do the angel wings come out, like the shadow of the angel wings?
Yeah. So it being who he is, shadow based. Well, not shadow based, but shadows definitely take a part in it. And you see sort of these angel wings in shadow come out behind him, and they almost add velocity to the attack as he goes in with his kukri.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Anduriel, you go up to use that, and I would like you to make a religion check, if you would, please.
Okay. That's 12 plus 7. 19.
Okay. Anduriel, your holy symbol flares with light as you engage this attack, right? And there is the shadow of your angel wings that come out, and you see the swirling shadows that come about you as the energy, this divine energy, fills you. But it's so hard to tap into it. The divine energy, for some reason, it feels like it's farther away, like almost like you can't feel Naylock. And you feel like it's just not doing as much damage as it should.
Okay.
And you feel like you're reaching out to Naylock. Your holy symbol flares with shadow, but it's faint. It's just really, really weak. And you have the sense that your divine powers just aren't going to be as potent at the moment for some reason, whatever that might be.
I'm going to have to out vampire them. So what I will do, I'm going to use the Blade of Nightmares to immobilize that enemy that I just hit. So he's immobilized till end, and just turn to Odelia and say, "Get out of here if you can."
Well, I'm sure Odelia is going to follow that advice. It's definitely in her nature. All right.
It's sound advice, whether she takes it or not. It's sound advice.
All right. So he slams the dagger home, but you kind of watch Anduriel's shadows just kind of fade away, even as some of them like ebb off of his aura and wrap themselves around this vampire's legs. And it looks to be kind of like a farmer or some kind of a herdsman. In colorful overalls, and just out of his mind with hunger. And Anduriel cuts him, and now it is Odelia's turn.
All right. Odelia is very concerned because these were kind people a few minutes ago. Trying to see if I have a okay, she just wants to immobilize them. So she is going to cast Earth's Endurance. And just kind of try and knock down this one next to her. So that is, oh my word, an 18.
That unfortunately is going to be a miss. Were you attacking with the harpoon, or were you
Nope.
attacking with your Hellfire Lance?
Nope, I wasn't attacking with them at all. Just trying to shove him to the ground.
Gotcha.
And casting Earth's Endurance.
Okay.
Because she doesn't want to kill any of these people, but she can't let them kill us either.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Unfortunately. All right. Do you want to use your action point, or are you done?
No, I'm done.
All right. Now it would be their turn. So Adelia.
Oh, also, now I'm giving Anduriel 2 extra points to his armor class until the end of next turn.
Okay.
Sweet,
Nice.
thanks.
Alrighty. Very good. You still have a minor action. Do you want to use bless or anything like that?
No, not yet. Not
All right. So Odelia, you see this guy and you're just kind of horrified at this simple farmer who is, at this table, who all of a sudden like comes up, glowing red eyes, lengthened fangs, gray sallow skin, and who leaps at you. And Duriel cuts him, and you try to just kind of shove him down into the ground with your spear. And Earth's Endurance is a clerical power for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
The same thing happens to you, Odelia. Your holy symbol just flares with blue light, but it winks out, and you can't feel Moiris. You can't feel her power. You can't feel her presence in the power as you use it, and that may be the reason why she missed. She expected this power and strength to fill her, and instead it just kind of winks out and drains away. And now it is the villager turned vampire's turns. The first thing that's going to happen is the innkeeper, this little halfling gentleman Lombardo, he ducks below into the shadows created by the bar. He ducks down into it and gets this wicked look on his face. And Morocon, you're so tall where you are that you see he ducks into the shadow and he vanishes completely.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
And who knows where he has gone. Just gonna put
This
him.
guy got some Anduriel tricks.
We're gonna put him right there. He shrank down into the shadows and vanished. And this guy, he does the same thing. He goes running over to here, and in the shadow cast by the griffin's head, he melts into the shadows also and vanishes.
Dookie.
This guy, who is so close to Anduriel, the one in the farmer's garb, he is just desperate to get in at Anduriel. So he comes in and he is going to attack with his vampire slam on Anduriel. And Mr. Anduriel, this is a plus 16. Does a 27 hit your AC, Anduriel?
Yes, by 1, dang it.
Are you using your +2?
Did you count?
Ah.
Yeah.
Boogers.
That makes it 26, yeah, so.
Okay.
Boogers indeed.
All right, Anduriel. 8.
Yes.
You take 13 points of damage. And he grabs you and slides you 1, 2, 3 into the wall. So Anduriel, he grabs you and goes slam and throws you into the wall. And Anduriel, you are dazed because he slammed you into the wall, and you take an additional 8 points of damage because you made solid contact with it. And you have had your bell ring your bell has been rung as you slam into the wall. You cannot believe the unnatural strength that is flowing through this vampire, villager turned vampire. You've fought vampires before, and a lot of them are supernaturally strong, but this is beyond what you would expect for someone with his form. This is the kind of strength that an older or elder vampire might have. And you haven't tangled with many of those. And you highly doubt that he's an elder vampire. And that is going to be almost his turn. Okay, he does one more thing. He looks at you, Anduriel, and his red pinprick eyes, they glow a little bit brighter, and from up in the rafters of the inn, a bunch of bats fly down and surround you in kind of a cloud. One second here.
Well, I don't like where this is going.
Me neither.
All right. So, and I'm going to make it a little bit of a different color here so that we can see just a little better. All right. So, Anduriel, you are now, there are bats flying all around you. And you will have a -2 to saves and defenses in this cloud. And he just kind of moves into the cloud at you and looks like he is ready to get you. And that is his turn. Morocon, this vampire friend comes at you. And this vampire friend, Thora, comes at you. And they are both going to try to use their vampire slam.
Okay.
Alrighty, Morocon. There's a 30 hit your AC.
Are they charging
They are not
by
charging.
chance?
Unfortunately, no. They are
Well,
not charging.
I'm going to interrupt and do water gives way on that guy.
Okay? Get him, Morocon. Get him.
It is a oh no. Well,
It's an oh no.
I guess that's the nature. Yeah, I rolled a 1.
Well, do you want to
no.
use your seer power and substitute one of the rolls?
Yes, I will.
I think that would be. a
I
Okay,
will-
good
did you
idea.
roll those 3 rolls before we started, or no?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, so roll all 3 dice at
Then
once
we'll-
so you know what you're picking at. What'd you get?
Okay, so I'll pick that one. It is a 25 versus fortitude.
That is a hit.
Okay. And that is going to be math. It is 29 points of damage, and I slide him 2 squares, and they are knocked prone.
All right, where do you want to slide him to?
I'll slide him
Closer
back
to me.
away from me. Oh, closer to you?
I can
Well,
blast
okay
him.
then. I will try to. Okay. Well, then I will slide him 2 squares closer. Yeah, if I can like smash him into the other guy that was charging Thora.
Okay. Remember, he's Buggy McBuggerson loves his bursts and blasts.
Yeah.
All right, so
Right.
Morocon, you kind of do what the other guy did. He comes in and he comes in and like goes to leap at you, and you're like, no. Like, you flip him upside down, slam his head into the bar, and then throw him into the other vampire, and who hisses and bats at him like he can't be bothered. He's so hungry that it's a distraction he just can't abide, and he bats the other one aside, and that would be.
And he is prone.
That would be his turn. So he will get up from a prone position with his move action, and that's the end of his turn, unfortunately. Except, guess what else he does?
He gonna make bats?
He's eyes the pinpricks of
He's going to
light.
use an action point.
No, he's a minor action is what he'll do.
Oh.
He does the same thing. His eyes, those pinpricks of red light in his eyes grow brighter, and bats come swarming in through the front door, and they come from inside the kitchen and down from the rafters, and they surround you and Thora. You're both in there, and while you're in this cloud of bats, you will grant concealment to them and have a -2 to saves and defenses. So it will be a little hard to hit.
Oh, jeez.
You will be a little easier to hit, unfortunately. Until Bugs goes, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that is his turn. This vampire now will make his attack on Thora. And he rolls a 2. Does an 18 hit your AC?
I gotta find it on my sheet again because I can't remember.
Middle of your character
where.
sheet. All your defenses, will, reflex, they're to the left of your hit points.
Oh, I just can't see. I apologize. That does not hit. My AC is a 21.
Okay, so swing and a miss from Mr. Vampire. Morocon slams one into, and he's near you, and he's like he can't get to you, and you're holding him
Rude.
back with your staff. Like you give him a push back, and he can't get within the reach of you. And
Rude.
now that would be all the vampires. Now would be Mr. Thora's turn.
Yay. So, first off, I'm checking my utilities just because there is one, I think. Yeah. There's one I'm going to drop for Morocon. Okay. So, as my main action, I am going to use Devouring Beetles, which is my 11th level, and I love it very much, to do a close blast 3 on the 2 guys in front of me.
Okay.
And it targets Fortitude.
Okay, go ahead and roll, and I will tell you if you hit.
That's very good. What's my bonus? It's plus 12. 28.
That's a hit. Now roll to hit the next one.
Okay. Oh yeah, I gotta hit. 24.
Hit. You hit both of them. All right, Bugs, what happens?
Yeah. Okay. So first, damage is very good. 18 points of damage.
All right, and you only roll once for damage on a burst or a blast, so you don't have to reroll.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
so you
So
guys.
18 points of damage. And I'm going to slide both of them closer to Morocon, and because it slides 2, so each one slides over 2.
Okay.
And I love this ability. They grant combat advantage, and they have vulnerable 5 until the end of my next turn.
Oh, that's very nice. Okay. So you're going to slide them closer to Morocon?
Yes.
How many squares?
Actually, do I have to slide?
No, you don't have to move them if you don't want to.
Can I minimize the slide so they only slide 1?
Yeah.
Okay, then in that case, I want both of them to slide left 1.
Okay. I will try to slide them and not make them fatter.
Because I'm about to also action point. I'm
All right.
I'm burning.
You're
I want
burning,
these
burning.
guys
I
to
got
let
you.
her rip.
explode.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. I'm gonna drop my action point, which all adjacent enemies take 5 points of poison damage.
Which is
And
really
all of-
10.
Ooh.
Because you made them
yeah,
vulnerable.
Vulnerability 5, baby. Yeah.
Nice.
And every single ally gains 2 to their defenses.
All right. Every single
Yeah.
ally in the burst, or
It says you and allies gain +2 defense.
all
That's
right,
all it
awesome.
says.
All right. Very good. And
Is
what
that
does the
all defenses, or just the regular ones?
2 defenses as
Okay.
so I'm guessing all. That's what it
Is-
sounds
okay.
like.
is this your action point power?
Yes.
All right, I can look that up since you are a vermin lord pretty quickly. But tell me what the rest of the power does, or roll for your attacks on the power, and then I'll look it up.
So that was just my action point.
No,
Um,
this is what happens when you use the power with your action point. The action point is whatever you decide to do. You get another standard
okay.
action.
Yes. Okay. I was misinterpreting. My bad. Then I'm going to cast. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, they do have vulnerability 5, so choice is
Yeah.
choices.
I know. And I could be really evil here, but I'm a good boy. So I am going to do swarming beetles, just my at will, to target reflex.
Okay.
Does combat advantage stack?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't think so.
You can't have too much combat advantage.
The first attack is a dirty 20.
That is a miss.
That's I figured.
Man.
And the second one is a 23 reflex.
That is a hit.
Okay.
you go.
And that is not a great roll. 12 plus 5, 17 total.
Okay. And what kind of damage is it?
It doesn't say.
Say untyped damage. Okay.
Untyped.
So what how much was it again? I'm sorry. I'm old and it's late.
17 with the vulnerability.
All right. So you missed number 2, the fisherman, but you got number 4, the farmer. All right. And they're vulnerable 5. Did you add that already or no?
Yes, I did.
All right. Just checking. Don't want to cheat you.
No, I understand. I appreciate it.
All righty. Very good. Okay.
And then as my minor, I'm going to cast Knack for Success and give Morokon a +2 power bonus to his next attack roll.
All right. Sounds like a good plan. Since his turn is next, that's a good move.
I
Now-
appreciate it.
Just to let you know, and not a really big shock, the poison bites of your scarabs as you explode with beetles that end up covering both of these towny vampires and start biting them. Normally you see the beetles bite and the poison will course through their veins. It does not seem to be bothering or sickening the vampires at all, which is not a huge surprise that the undead are not affected by poison. So you're not shocked
Yeah.
by that, but you did tear large holes into them. Just all kinds of mess and whatnot. And that is Mr. Thor's turn. He explodes with bugs all over the place. They grant combat advantage. They're still batting at the bugs, and they're like hissing like hissing at each other, but also still with that hungry look in their eyes. And now it is Moral the Con.
Alrighty. Well, I am going to minor action. I will take the stone juggernaut stance. And then I will use said stone juggernaut attack. Just against the dude that's prone in front of me.
Okay, the
So-
prone fisherman vampire in front of you.
Right. So I have a -2 to attack, but a +2 to attack. So it's just my normal
Yep.
roll then?
He has
Okay.
concealment because of the bats that are flying around you, but you have Thora who's on the side of you going, "Go for the eyes, boo! Go for the eyes!" Wow!
Oh boy, that's not going to be great. That's it's a dirty 20 against reflex.
That unfortunately is not going to be anywhere near close enough.
Yeah.
What were you attacking with,
Okay.
by the way?
The stone juggernaut attack.
Gotcha. That is a miss, and unfortunately, you've already used your seer power, so you can only use that once
Right.
per encounter. Any other tricks up your sleeve for hitting?
To be able to hit, I don't think I have anything. I've done my minor, I've done my action. I would like to try to move out of the bats though.
All right. You would like to move out of the
Um,
bats? You're going to provoke an attack of
yeah.
opportunity, unless you shift. You can shift one.
Yeah, but I'll still be in the bats. Oh, if I shift back,
You can't
I'd be,
shift.
like,
You'd have
across
to
the-
climb, my friend. That's a bar.
uh,
Actually,
yeah.
given your enormous size, I'll let you make an athletics check to pull it off. Give me your
Okay.
athletics check. I'll tell you if it's good enough.
Well, I'm good at that. That's 21.
Okay, that is sufficient for you to shift over this tiny surface because you are so very large. It's more like stepping over a retaining wall kind of thing for you. So you step over this somewhat halfling-sized bar, and that is the result of that. And you shift out of the bats that are moving and swirling. And that is
Right.
Moroccon's turn. Now you're still in the stance, right?
I'm still in the stance. That lasts for the encounter. So
Even though
I've
you
got-
didn't. All right, so I'll write that down so I know for next time. All right, that is Morocon.
Right.
Back with the top, Mr. Endurial. Unless you're using your action point.
I don't think-
not this round.
You still have a minor action also.
No, that was my minor action, was to take the stone juggernaut stance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Endurial.
All right. I was thinking, I don't want to be in the bats either.
Oh, okay.
Like
You are
the thought
you are
process-
dazed, Endurial, so you only have one action. Is your problem?
It's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's
Fine, I'm
not
fine. It's fine.
no big deal.
I don't even care. It's fine.
I'm glad about it. Actually,
I like being in bats. I'm a bat. Like, there.
I'm glad about it. I'm going to dive. I'm going to use shadow dive.
Okay.
Dive into Odelia's shadow and disappear from play. Wait, no, never mind. Because I would do ongoing. I would do necrotic damage. I thought.
Adelia, Endurial begins to choke the life from you. No. Okay.
Sorry. No, I'm going to use shadow leap. That way I can leap into her shadow and not do her any damage, not do her
Okay.
any harm.
And that will be the end of your turn, unfortunately.
I think that's a pretty good turn.
All right. Endurial, you teleport and leap into you teleport and you leap out of Odelia's shadow. And there you are, unless you want to be in another square.
Nope, that'll do.
All right. Very good, sir. And All
Do I
right,
need to
so
save or am I just
nope,
my
it's
days
just till the
save
end of the
ends?
vampire's next turn.
Until
You're
end.
coming out of it.
Okay.
On your next turn, you'll have your full turn. All right, Odelia, it is your turn.
All right, Odelia is, well, first of all, glad that Anduriel's out of the way because she is just going to jump over and just yell, "This is no way to treat guests!" and jump around to where he is and just hit him with her harpoon.
She's not wrong.
And that is,
Are you using a melee basic attack or are you going to use a power?
it's great shout.
Okay.
And that's a 24.
Okay, that is going to be a hit.
All right. Okay. So that is 22 damage. And he will have a -2 to any attack until the end of my next turn.
Ooh. 22 damage. And he has a -2 to attacks?
Yes.
All right. He notices that. So, Odelia, you leap on him with your harpoon and slam that harpoon into his shoulder. This vampire peasant. You get a good. His clothes are pretty nice. You get a look at him. He's got ink under his fingertips and on his tips, like the kind of things that somebody who writes a lot, like a scribe or something. So you catch sight of that even if you stab into him, kind of bringing back the awareness that he wasn't a vampire about 10 minutes ago, and slam that harpoon into it. And he, even though he's pinned by your harpoon for a second, is hissing and shrieking at you and trying to bite you, like he's so obsessed with hunger. And that is your turn, unless you're using your action point.
No, but I am going to use my how is Anduriel injured? Or was he just saved?
He took quite a bit of damage.
I took some hits.
I'm gonna cast Healing Word on so anybody who is damaged, because it's close burst 10. Oh wait, no, it's just one target. Sorry.
Yep.
So Anduriel, you get to spend a healing surge and add 3d6 + 1.
Awesome. Thank you, Odelia.
So that'll be 19 on top of your healing surge.
So actually, it's not. Anduriel, it's half of your healing surge plus 9.
Okay.
Oh.
Odelia, you say your prayer to Moiris and fling your hand out, and a gentle mist pours out of your hand and covers him, like, you know, and it feels like a gentle mist on a hot summer day. But
it's like when you turn on the hose.
Yes.
And there's air in it and just goes.
Yeah, it's like the mist comes out and it does settle over him, but the stream just stops as you know, it coming out of your hand and holy symbol, and you're like, dude, check the battery, Alma. Like, what? You just can't seem to channel as much of Moiris's power as you should be able to, and you can't feel her. You can't feel her presence on the other side of your holy symbol, which is even more disturbing. And will you be using your action point, or
nope?
Okay, and now it is the vampire's turn. Okay, Morocon, guess what?
I don't want it.
No, go away.
The innkeeper appears right next to you and is going to attack you with his savage. No, he's going to use Whispers of Bloodlust. So the innkeeper appears next to you, that little halfling Lombardo, and starts whispering in your ear just the most ghastly, horrible things. And he gets a 24 versus your will.
Well, yeah, will is not my greatest defense. Even after all the buffeting.
Even after all the buffeting. So, Mr. Moro the Khan, you are going to take some psychic damage here. You take 18 points of psychic damage, Moro Khan, and you enter a violent bloodlust. He infects you with his bloodlust, and overcome with it, you have to use your turn to make melee basic attacks against Thora with a +5 to damage. until you save,
jeez.
my friend.
Oh.
So
And you buffed me with extra attack bonuses, Laura. I am
Yeah.
so sorry.
No, you're
Laura-
good. You're good.
Morocon turns on you, and he's like, and he is swinging for you. On his next turn, is the impression that you get. Until you save, Morocon, just shake loose that bloodlust, or somebody grants you a save, and that would be his turn, unfortunately. And Miss Odelia, this vampire appears behind you. He would
Rude.
flank you if he could, but he doesn't want to alert you by climbing up on the chair. And he is going to try to do the same thing to you. And he gets a 30 versus Will.
Well, that definitely beats my 21.
You take
Barely hit you,
21
barely.
points of psychic damage, Odelia,
Oh,
and you are also filled with this bloodlust. And you turn on Anduriel. You turn on Anduriel and look at him like he is a piece of meat and not in the good way. And that will
Oh,
be
man.
his turn. And the other vampire is going to provoke an attack of opportunity from you, Odelia, moving away. And you are free to make a melee basic.
Oh, I will. Ooh, that is a 33.
That'll do. You hit him.
nice.
All right. That is 12 damage.
Oh, he does not like that. All right. So, Odelia, this is the one that you shouted at, right? So he's already got a -2 to attacks, which is good for you, Anduriel. And he peels away, seeing that you're filled with bloodlust, and comes to Anduriel, but that doesn't mean you're friends with him. So you want Anduriel's blood, and you feel the hunger for his blood fill you. But then you reach, you're like, but don't you think you're getting away? And you stab him right in the side, and he hisses like, ah, at you. Anduriel, he's still going to try to slam attack you.
Okay.
But he only gets an 11. So he got a 27 versus AC. Does that
That
hit
is
your
not,
AC?
not anymore.
Because
I got a +2 from Thor, right? Does everybody get +2 from Thor?
yes, you did.
So that's 28.
Okay, because you were within range when he used that power. All right, so he misses you then because you have higher than 27?
28.
Okay, he swings for you and just barely misses your face. And that is his turn. That's him. That's invisible him. And Thora, you got 2 vampires on you that have yet to attack, right? Okay, they are both. You are unfortunately in their Batty McBatterson-ness, which means they get a +2 to attack you, and you have a -2 to attack them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, that's wrong. You just have a -2 to attack them, saves and defenses. So, oh yeah, defenses. So they do get a +2 to attack. All right, here they come with their slam. One of them rolled a 3 and missed, and the other one rolled a 15 and hit, and is going to grab you unless you do something to interrupt it, and go 1, ooh, and make you fat. No. Gonna grab you and slide you 3 and slam you into the wall, and you will take an ugly 8, 9, 14 points of damage, and you are dazed, my friend.
So when I take damage, I can interrupt,
Yes, you can.
and I can reduce that by 10.
Yep. So you take 9 points of damage. So he slugs you and grabs you and throws you, but as he grabs you, your shoulder, half your shoulder, just disintegrates into bugs, and he loses his grip and can't throw you quite as hard. So you are still dazed, my friend, but you don't take quite as much damage. And that would be the end of the vampire's turns. It is Thora's turn. You only have one action, my friend, because you are dazed.
That's fine. Thora is mildly irritated and has undead to kill. I'm gonna burn a daily.
Okay.
So my friend Morokhan's a little screwy in the head right now.
Yeah, he looks grumpy wumpy.
But he's still my buddy, so I'm not gonna do anything about him. But I am gonna do something about all those butt heads around him.
All right, get the peasant pyres.
Well, and we kind of established fairly recently that I can turn the Wall of Thorns. So I am going to build a Wall of Thorns from number 4 boy,
Okay.
left 2, and up directly into number 1.
All right, first let's change the color to a lovely shade of green, shall we? All right, so how many squares do you get, my friend?
I get 8.
All right, so you got 3 and you want it here?
I want it to go directly from like where number 4 is on 15.
Yep.
Left 2 and then up to number 1.
Let me move these so I can see the numbers. All right. Left 2. All right, so I need to flip this bad boy like this, no?
Yes, please.
All right. So you want it like that?
Yep. And then L like a loser. Directly up into number 1.
Alrighty. Like so. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you got one more square. Do you want to wrap it past that one right there? Let him be enclosed with Morokhan?
So he wants it.
I want it to impact number 1.
Oh, okay.
Director.
No problem. So all I need to do is this, but we shrink it down to one itty bitty little square like that. And we put him
My job is to make
in it.
college easier.
Yep.
And to make college easier. Okay, very good.
Ah,
Alrighty.
So I would DM ruling. Technically they entered the Wall of Thorns when it emerged.
Yes, they're going to take damage.
Yay!
That's how the power works, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm not having to make any kind of special ruling. They just take it.
Okay, so it's not a great damage roll, but it is 7 points of damage, ongoing 5, and it takes 3 squares of movement to leave the wall.
Right. So 7 points of damage to the fisherman. And 7 points of damage to the farmer. And 7 points of damage to Lombardo.
Alrighty. Sorry, bud.
All right, the fisherman, number 2, the fisherman's pretty hurt. He doesn't look like he can take that too many more times. The farmer, number 4, he's looking pretty wounded, but he's still got more to go. And they also take ongoing what?
Ongoing 5.
All right.
They'll take that damage again when they start in it next round.
Oh no. All righty. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, I got it. Which is a good action. If you're gonna only have one action, it's a good one to take.
Yeah.
Which is no good for them. Alrighty. Excelente. So that would be Thora's turn, and we will finish tonight with Morokhan's turn. Make it count, bro. Well,
Hit
actually,
me.
please don't make it count because
Hit me.
Let me say, I have to spend my action,
Yep.
action and my movement attacking my elf buddy here.
You
Do
do,
it.
and I hope you don't hit him because it's gonna hurt more.
Sort of make it
Oh.
count.
Do it. Do it.
Oh no, I am sorry. So that's a 30.
Yeah.
That'll do, pig.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh man, I am so sorry. That's
You're fine.
It's just melee basic, right?
Yep, it's just a melee basic attack.
Okay. So it's 16 damage.
Plus 5 is
Oh, yeah.
21.
I'm okay.
All right, so
You got
Thora,
it. You got it.
you get slammed into that wall, but only partially because he lost his grip on you. And then you start chanting, and vines and thorns and grass grows up and kind of like grabs them. And you're like, ha ha, oh! And you get duped right in the face as Morokhan just clocks you. Morokhan, if you would please
Yeah.
make a saving throw. Let's see if you shake it off at the end of your turn.
Okay. I rolled a 10. Is that okay?
That will manage to shake it off. So Morokhan,
That's
you
okay.
just
Woo!
practically broke Thora's jaw, and then you come out of it right in front of him.
Oh, jeez.
Like,
Sorry, buddy.
sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Do I have a minor action at all, or is that my turn?
That ends your turn, unfortunately, my friend.
Okay.
And let me just
Okay.
double check here. Yep, that does end your turn. And that brings us to the end of
Bummer.
our night this evening. We're actually 15 minutes over, which is how do I I just got to stop with all of the sharing. Oh, there we go. All right, and we're back. Okay. And I will save that before I close it. Okay. How's everybody feeling?
It's gonna be
Like,
great.
we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like we're all. Oh.
It's an ugly scenario that you're looking
I've
at here,
died
my
before.
friend.
It's not a big deal.
So,
Well, better.
yeah, it got better. Okay. So we like to end our stream on a bit of a positive note. For those that do not know, sometimes we're all fairly positive people, and most of us are fairly people of faith here. So we like to end on a positive thought or a scripture or something. So if that's not your cup of tea, feel free to just end the stream right here. And we thank you for watching it, and thank you for joining us on this adventure. Hopefully it was Ravenlofty enough for you. And we will now hear that positive final happy thought to end up this horror fest with Miss Tommy.
All right, tonight's positive thought comes to you from just a meme that I saw on Facebook that really struck me. And it said, you know who's having a really hard time right now? Literally everyone. Just be kind. And that really struck me because it just going down the list of my own family members, it is true. And so I'm sure it's true for the wider world as well. And it made me think about the kindnesses that I have received. We have some interesting family situations in my family, and we've been the beneficiaries of people being kinder than they needed to be. Really going out of their way to love and support me, my husband, my kids, and it has really made all the difference for us. And I just think there is so much power in seeing people and choosing to be kind.
I love it. I don't think you can ever hear the reminder to be kind enough. I know it's a reminder that I can use to be kind, because it's easy to lose your temper while everybody is stressed out and everybody is under unusual pressures. Anybody have any other thoughts they'd like to add?
I mean, it just reminds me of something that happened, not necessarily in my family, but something that happened in my life recently, that like there was a very huge kindness in a huge community as a result. I play in, like, this is going to start weird, but I play Final Fantasy 14 online, which is a MMORPG. So thousands and thousands of players all simultaneously playing a game. And this week, one of the voice actors of the English version died. And legitimately, there was an in-game vigil on every single server, thousands of people standing outside of the home that of the character he played, lighting fires, just like lighting little candles in vigil. A kindness in one of the weirdest and most like positive ways. Just so, like, you'll find kindness everywhere. It's sometimes just not where you'd expect.
And it counts whether it's virtual or not. It's a kind of, I mean, it even counts in game. I mean, everybody likes getting buffed, right? By a bonus or a heal or something like that. Kindness counts everywhere.
I like the simplicity of the message too, from Tommy and from John. It's like, we're not qualifying the kindness. You don't have to qualify for it. You got it. And I think we just need to make it that thought just a basic thought. You know what? Be kind. Let's not put qualifiers on it. Just be kind.
Yeah. I'm actually going to share that picture in the Facebook chat.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Kindness really does not need to cost anything at all. And I'm a big believer in karma. So if you put good vibes out there, it'll return to you.
I agree. Okay. Well, that brings us to our conclusion for the night. And thank you so much for anybody who might have joined us. Poinketh, can't wait to hear your thoughts. A lot of role play in today's episode, so I'm sure that's fodder for you. And we're happy that you joined us, Poinketh. And anybody else who joined us, thank you too. We appreciate you and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.